We are live. There we go. So, hello everyone. Welcome to a live stream. It's not a Q&A today. It's actually a bit of a tour. We've got a couple of people on stream, you can see. And we're actually going to go over both of their spaces. So we're going to go over Jonathan's first, and then we'll go over Roxana's afterwards. I do have some questions as well from throughout the week that I'll go over at the end of this video. So those of you watching back on the replay, make sure you check out the timestamps in the description. I will get those done after stream because it's a bit of a pain on stream. But yeah, so that is currently what we're going to do today. Have I got anything else to say? I don't think so. So, John, do you want to start sharing you are sharing your screen? I'll bring your screen on stream. There we go. This is a great start. I love streaming. It's so much fun. So, there we go. Awesome. Those of you that have just joined us, make sure you introduce yourself in the chats. Let's see where everyone's coming from. And Jonathan, over to you, because I want to stop talking now because I make myself sound silly.
I'll just sit awkwardly for another few seconds to make sure you have to talk a little bit longer. But yeah, so this is, you can still see it, right?
Yep. Well,
Good.
I can.
Okay, as long as everyone else can too, it's fine. But yeah, so this is my setup. I've recently gone through and changed a lot, so there will still be some dust settling in some places. I've done my best, but then I decided to change something at last minute yesterday, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I was supposed to be talking about it today. So this looks very similar to someone else we know, and it's because it's a really good idea. Like, for me, I want it to be as easy and simple as possible with as few clicks as possible. So on here, I have kind of all the tasks that are due today. I purposely left these on just so that you can see what this actually looks like. It's not the fact that I'm really disorganized today at all. I have different tasks and a project view and also the deadline. This is a formula. It's my little info view formula, which I can go into a bit later on. So I have my today tasks. I have like just a capture. If I'm writing something or creating something and I need to capture it, I'm not ready for it to go anywhere else, I just capture it here. And it's filtered by, what is the filter now? It was edited within the past week and archive is unticked. Once it's after a week, it will disappear and then I can go back to it later if I want to. And then I have meetings that I'm doing today. Inside my meeting tracker, I have kind of all the standard calls and all the stuff that I do. And so
very quickly, with your tasks, I see you don't have a tick box. Do you go into every single task? And hello everyone in the chat, by the way. I am like, I'll do a quick hi. So hi Torrent, Gail, and Gonzalo. Good to see you. Oh, London. Gonzalo's from London. Oh, he's close to us, John.
Nice.
Yeah. So you don't have a tick box. Do you go into each of those tasks?
The reason why I don't have a tick box is because I have statuses, because often I'm waiting, like either my virtual assistant is waiting on me, or I'm waiting on feedback from a client, or I'm waiting on a client. I have kind of my status property. So to do that, I right click and just type status, and then I can edit it there if it's in progress or not started. I never use not started. I don't know why I have it, but I have it just for being thorough. And so that I know what my lovely VA is doing as well. Yeah, so hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah. Roxana, do you have something similar to that in your space? Obviously, we'll see yours later, but is yours similar?
No, mine's different. I have my task on gallery view, and I actually have the checkbox where you can click, it disappears.
Okay, we'll see that. We'll see that later. But
mine is a little similar to Aga's broadly, but a little different, you can say. I have more information when I see my task.
Oh, this is just my home view. This is literally, so I come here as soon as it's very similar to what Danny has, where literally I can just cheat and press, no matter where I am in my dashboard, I can press Control-1 and I'm back here again. So this is so that I don't end up getting overwhelmed because I have way too many things to do. When it comes to...
Where'd you get that idea from?
Sorry?
Where'd you get that idea from?
I said it was you. I said it was you. I did give you credit. Come on.
You said someone.
Did I swear I said? Did I not? Okay, fair enough. It was from Danny. Everybody, it was from Danny. Danny, it was Danny. Danny, there you go. Cool.
No, I'm up, am I not? Oh, I don't know. Wherever. Carry on.
So when it comes to my week, I have a weekly dashboard. So every week I create a new week, and inside of there I have loads of things going on. I have my tasks for the entire week, which I have as a filter. So not only do I see kind of when I get to Wednesday, I also see what I'm doing next week as well. So it's kind of a constant moving thing. It's professional terminology. And so I also have all of these are automatically dated. You can see I've already got the dates there. If I move a task over, for example, I can see this is a lot of stuff I'm trying to do. I can actually move this around and it automatically updates the due date here, as you can see, which is always fun and a little bit nerdy.
So I'm guessing here, is that the same system as the one that I showed in the weekly agenda video, like the same formulas to get the day to work with the date? Have you seen that video?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you have to manually put the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday every time?
So basically, when I go into the beginning of the week, like all of my tasks have like the day. So I come in, I don't ever do it this way. I always view it from here. So I start on the left-hand side with no day, which is just the 27th or the Monday. And then once I've dumped it on this hand side, I just spread it out over the week. I like to kind of batch my planning on one day and then dump it all on the left-hand side and then go, okay, cool. When am I going to do those things? And I just pull them across to the other side and just go, that's when I'm going to do them. But I think
similar to mine. I do mine in my calendar view and I just dump everything on one day and then drag and drop. But yeah.
It is very similar to yours. And so I have inside of my kind of weekly planner, I have like the tasks that I'm planning to do this week. I have like video content because my big focus at the moment is to release more kind of videos because everyone wants more stuff and more Notion stuff. So I have a special filter which kind of shows all the tasks. In the info view, any task related to creating a video has this little emoji at the beginning. So if it contains an emoji, it's going to appear here. And you can see here, I've got the really descriptive video title, which only I need to know about. And then also when I'm planning to complete it, it's then sorted by the deadline, which it just pulls this information in. So for example, we have all of this kind of information on like what the title is going to be, the thumbnail. This is in the task view. I'm about to jump into another content thing in a minute, but I'll try not to. But just to see this is a fun little formula which checks whether I'm waiting on client. If it's something that I'm waiting on a client to complete, it tells me I'm waiting on a client in my little checklist. So it means I can go and say, okay, cool. I don't need to do anything right now. I need to go apart from messaging them. If it's a content release, then it just shows the little recording video film icon, and then it shows when it's going to be released, like what the content is, and also the deadline of the content if I want to. If it's a project, then I show a little project icon or part of a big project, and I say what the project is, and then I have right at the end the deadline of when it's going to be and when I need to get it done. And if it doesn't have it shows the deadline right at the end there.
So for those either watching on the replay or watching now that don't understand formulas, is there another way that you'd used beforehand to do essentially the same thing? Or has it always been like that?
Before I just opened the task, like before I started putting and implementing the formula, you can easily see most of this information here anyway. It's just what I've done is to make things simpler because I don't have to look at all of these properties, which I do at the moment need and I can't hide. I like being able to just look in the formula. So for at the moment, I knew there'd be one thing that wasn't tidied up. See, I did say there would be one thing I didn't tidy up. Anyway, so no, I basically turned it into a formula, and without opening it, there was no other way to see it. Which is a rubbish answer, I know.
Yeah, it's the answer you've given. We'll let you off. It's good enough.
Oh, thank you very much. So as I just used that really quick shortcut, which Danny showed to me.
Wait, what shortcut is that?
So it's the control one. So basically I have everything hidden apart from the dashboard, which I've favorited. And then I can just press control one, which takes me back to the first dashboard that I have, the first workspace that I have. And then I don't have to worry about it, which is what Danny showed me. Have I said your name enough yet?
No, say it again. You can tell the stream is really serious.
Okay, so
Right.
this is moving on. Is there any other questions relating to that really rough look at my weekly view and project view and stuff like that?
I'm not seeing any questions in chat. I will quickly check the form. I'm not seeing any. So Roxanne, if you are satisfied with Jonathan's explanation, we can carry on.
Just fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so now is my kind of content planner. Now, yes, this is once again inspired by Danny, but actually I separated. So I tried it Danny's way originally, where it was just a project, but I didn't like it. It was annoying me and bugging me. So I had to separate it out. I don't just do videos. I'm working on kind of doing emails and lots of other things as well. So I want to be able to track all of that here. And so I have kind of like the content idea thing, nowhere near as many because I always forget to fill them out until I'm just like, oh, I'm going to do that one. And oh, I'm going to do that one. Then I have a content planner, and each of these is a template of its own. At the top, I have kind of this same, actually, let's just show it with the template for those not familiar. I have two.
I like it. Thinking of the beginners.
Yeah.
And people that are just unfamiliar, because I think like even being experienced, having used Notion for over 2 years, I look at some things and I'm like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think about doing that.
So my process is very similar to Danny's. I really love the idea of having the tasks here, and I've taken it one step further because I have someone on my team helping me with the stuff that I don't have time to do. I actually add instructions for her, linking back to important information, a checklist for her to look at, etc., etc. And so all I need to do is just take all of these. Well, I'm not going to do that now. Drop it into the task manager exactly like Danny's one, and then I have a similar setup to Ali.
Pause there for a sec. So for me, I don't have an assistant. I have like subtasks in those tasks. So essentially, you're in one project and you've got, what have you got there? 6 tasks, and then I have subtasks in those tasks. So just like if you're not in a team watching on the replay or watching now, if you're not in a team and you want to be able to remember the small things that you need to do for those tasks, you could just put subtasks in there.
Yeah, exactly. And that pretty much is what's in there anyway, little checklist. Because I prefer doing the checklist for subtasks rather than having the multi-layered kind of task management, which is just so complicated. It's possible, but it's just complicated. So I have a space for title ideas and ideas for thumbnails because I make too many of them, as well as resources that I like to use. And then I kind of have like the storyline thing, which I've taken from Ali. I think it's Ali Abdul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a video 3 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
About it. Yeah.
A combination between yours and his altogether.
I see a bit of Thomas Frank in there as well with the title ideas and the resources link. So it's sort of like a bit of all of us in there, really. Yeah. A bit of me at the top, then a bit of Thomas Frank, then a bit of Ali at the bottom.
And then this is all me. So I have like on nearly everything, I have like an info panel, so I can just look at it at a glance without having to jump in if I need to. So I have like the emojis are matching here. It's kind of almost like a progress bar, but it's not a progress bar because I don't like progress bars.
So very quickly, Toran's put in the chat, still trying to get his head around templates, especially creating them from existing pages where I really like the layout. So I'll share my view, and then obviously you two can sort of pitch in. Like there's 2 sorts of template. Well, I guess there's 3 sorts of templates to think about when it comes to Notion. The one that I think a lot of people think about with templates is like duplicating someone else's template, which is like a whole page, a whole setup, almost like a workspace. That's an external template, or that's how I would class it, external template. Then you have the template button, which you can put pretty much anything in the template button, but that sort of like spews out whatever you put in. That's how I would describe it. It sort of just spits out one of whatever you've got in the button. And then you've got the database template, which is what Jonathan's showing here. And the database template is basically just, instead of spewing it out onto a page, it automatically puts that template into the database that the template's in. So if you have like I think I've done in the project management video, all of the stuff that I created is a template. And what it basically does is every time you create a new page, you essentially duplicate everything that's in that template. So it'll stay exactly the same. It'll stay blank in the template. So when you create a new one, none of the tick boxes are checked or any of the information's in there. But it means that you can sort of start from somewhere rather than absolutely a blank page. So Jonathan's got this as his starting point, and then he can build from there. Do you guys want to add anything to that, or how you use them?
It's also a way of just saving time, which is pretty much the only reason why I use Notion, and because I'm a nerd. But the idea by having these templates, I have templates for nearly all of my kind of processes and the things that I try to do, because the less I have to think, the more I can get done, the less decisions I've got to make. I know when I come in here, even if I don't know exactly what video I'm creating, I know I just click a button and I create this I add a new one. If I come out here as a good example, that'd be useful. So like, for example, if I was to record a fast formatting video, I can literally drag and drop this in. In fact, let's do that. Where do I need to put videos? Okay. For example, I can just come in here. I can drag it in if I want to or not, which I'm not going to. And you can add videos in here. And then all you have to do is just click this button and it automatically creates it for you. So, I can assign the date as I want. And then I have all of this information to get me started. So I don't have to think. I just know and follow the same repeat process over and over again.
Creating that routine.
Yeah. To get me to
I'm
do
definitely doing the same thing. Like for me, every task that I know I'm gonna do again and again in the future, I'm just looking for what are the things I do every time, and just put a page on it, and then on top, so I can just drag it to the database. It's just when I saw Danny's video template, I was like, this is it. This is why I love Notion, because it makes everything so simple. You don't have to think the next time you're gonna do the same task over again. So you save a lot of time.
So have both of you seen because there's 2 YouTube videos, and looking at this was the first one that I did about YouTube, like my YouTube process. Have you both seen that one? I assume you're modeling off of that one with the board at the top and then drag and drop.
I think it was a live stream. I saw it. It on a live stream, and then I came back to the live stream. I was like, oh, how did he do that? And then just copy it.
I can't remember which one I saw it from. I watched too many videos.
Okay, I was going to say, I know I've gone over it in a couple of live streams, and then I've got a couple of videos of 2 different ways I've approached it. But like what I have now, as you can imagine, is slightly different as well. It's always evolving.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you start with one. So for example, this used to just be, so this was a content ideas, like a video ideas, and then this was my project database, and then like I just pulled it in. That is similar to what you use now, unless you've changed it again in like 2 weeks, which let's put it honestly, you probably have. Like
No, I just created a whole new workspace. Whole new workspace.
Why have you done separate workspaces? That's an interesting topic. Why have you done separate workspaces? That I'm intrigued.
No, I was joking. No, I created a new page though, like a new dashboard, which I'm not going to go into my space. My space is extremely messy right now. I'm like doing like 20 projects at once all over the place. I'm not even joking. I have code blocks in my dashboard.
Wow.
Yeah, to work through formulas. Yeah. Gail's put something in the chat. He said, "How many templates do you think you have? How many are database templates versus page templates via the template button?" Either of you can answer, but for me, I don't actually use the template button in my space because my space is built around templates because everything is linked. So none of them are buttons. 100% are templates. Running through in my head, I think I have 4 templates in my task database, 7 in my projects database, however many areas I have in my flashcards database. So that's like 16, 17. So what's that? About 25 templates, I think that's about right. I'm probably missing some, but That's me off the top of my head. I'd literally have to go in and count them, and I probably got more somewhere hidden. And some of those are literally just to put the emoji on the card. Like for my flashcards, the template is literally just to have the emoji there, so I don't have to go and find it.
Yeah, I have one also like that. Like for me, I have like in my main task database, I have like 7 or 6 templates. In my finance, like there, I have like Danny said, I have just a template to add the icon. And in my library workspace, I also have like a template just to add the icons.
See, I try to keep it as few as possible, but yeah, I am guilty for the icon only template button. I actually do have template buttons. Primarily,
I need to see this. Oh, you can carry on with your tour, but I need to see this first. How are you using it?
So that's a good. Where do I put it?
I like the tab bar idea, by the way.
It was Danny's idea.
Yes, Danny. I think I've said you were like the point now where I am supposedly your I can't remember now what I was saying. I've forgotten. Sidekick. You know, it's not the fact that I've been doing it longer, but yeah, it's fine. Anyway.
You're original. You are completely original. Carry on.
You're so cruel. Oh, my buttons. I do have buttons. I just can't remember where. I think it's inside of here. Oh, actually, there was one there. Oh yeah. So when I have my templates, I have like a template start page, and that's a button. It's a really boring button, but it does exist.
A start page for what? A project?
Yeah, no. So when I'm building templates for people to get hold of, like purchasable templates, I have like a start page. I could put this in a database, but I really quite like the visual look of this versus having it in a database.
So is that a public page then?
No, this one isn't, but each individual page is. It's only for me. I just like it because it looks pretty.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've noticed the dark mode. I like the orange.
It's my brand colors.
It's literally like the color of my room, and I'm not even joking. That's the only wall that isn't orange. That's the only wall that isn't orange.
I've forgotten now. Oh yes, the content planner. So yeah, I have like this formula here, which kind of, depending on what task is there, I think this is also. Do you have something like this? I don't remember whether I just decided that I wanted to be really difficult and different. Can't remember.
What are you asking me? I remember looking through the formula. I was like, yeah, cool.
I think this was actually one of my own things. See, I do things myself.
No, because I remember we were talking about it, and I think because I use the color coding system for all of my projects, like the cross through to the green tick. And I think you sort of like took that and then went with it with all of your stuff going on in there.
The stuff going on within there. So each of these linked to a task. If the task is there, if the task is done or ticked, it is actually, I do still have ticks, but it's an automatic thing. So as soon as it goes to in progress, or done, or archived, I think archived or done, it will automatically tick. So that's how I still have the checked formula there. And so it pulls these in and checks to see how many, if something is published, which if I tick this one up here, it will change it to it's out in the world, which is really original. Otherwise, it checks to see whether the research video is done. If it's more than one, then it ticks it. If it's not, then it shows the eyes, and the eyes match up with the kind of all the icons match up with here because it just looks nice. And then at the end, it just shows that like that. So yeah.
So Gail's asked another question.
Yep.
And has asked, have you thought that you've over-templated, meaning created too many templates in a single database? Personally, for me, no, because the templates I have there are, I literally use them all the time. if there's a template in there that I don't use, it gets deleted. It's gone. But no, personally, no, because they're all there to speed up time because they're like repeated processes. But maybe others like have over templated. I don't know. I see Roxana's like, nope.
Nope.
You can never have too much templates.
Well, you can, but it has to be an awful lot. As long as it has a purpose and a point, then it's not about the number. It's about whether there's a reason to have it. Because you can go really crazy and do stupid things and like ridiculous, over the top formulas for no reason.
Big things for no point.
But like in terms of just getting things done, like it's as much as I need, whether that be hundreds or whether that be next to none. It just doesn't matter. So yeah, once again, I have like the same thing as what Danny has here. Same thing, like all the tasks, and then I can schedule things in order. It's a really good thing, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm sure he's going to nick some of my stuff eventually, and then I can come back and say, "Oh, that was mine." No.
Yeah, that means you're going to have to start posting videos.
Oh.
Oh, before the video, this was inspired by Danny. I have a question about the formula. So you have a link to all the tasks. So let's say in the future you decided to add an extra task. Do you have to edit that formula again?
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. So you have to revere. So you have to really think the steps you want to add in those. Okay.
And I do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'll just keep adding stuff and adding stuff and adding stuff and adding stuff. I don't want to get into the trap of just continually adding stuff. So I want to create something that is dialed in so perfectly for my workflow that it would be a pain in the backside to edit. But that's only because I've spent, I don't know how long, trying to create a system that made sense for me in a way that my brain works. So like I wouldn't go out of my way to suggest that people create these info formula like views unless they were certain what they wanted to see, because you need to know what you want to see at a moment's notice. I mean, the homepage one is different because it is useful to see what projects you're working on when the deadline is without having to have like so this is a list view. Like I found having all of the properties showing was a bit of a pain because sometimes I didn't add that project because I didn't need to, and so it was kind of all like moving up and down and looking weirdly aligned, and it was annoying. Whereby here it's just one way of showing it. That's kind of cool how the date does that now. I didn't realize that before until now. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I have for there.
Very, very quickly. So Toran, answer to your question, John, you may know, Roxana, you may know, Toran asked, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, speaking of formulas, did you find out what coding language Notion are using for it? No, I don't. I did ask. So I asked Ben, and then I asked Camille, and then I asked Alex, and Ben said ask Alex, Camille said ask Alex, and Alex said I'm not sure, I'll ask the other part of the team, and no one's got back to me yet. So I'm not sure. I would assume Java, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what from my limited understanding of JavaScript, I thought it was.
I mean, considering you use, what was that? Sorry.
I also have no idea.
Yeah, I would assume JavaScript because in the formulas you use JavaScript regex, regular expressions. But I don't know if they work with Python as well. I'm not a coder. I'm in process. It's one of my pages. It's one of my learning pages. But no, I don't have a definite answer for that. Maybe tweet at them. Maybe tweet at them and see if they respond that way. Or maybe someone who sees the tweet will know. But yeah, not sure. How much more of your space have you got? Because I know Notion's a bit of a TARDIS, and you can look at the dashboard and be like, it's not that big, and then you're like, actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I don't go too like. There's so many other things I could show, but I'm just like, okay. stop. So that
Show as much or as little as you want. It's entirely up to you.
I don't want to bore people.
This is Notion.
Oh yeah, good point. And so, oh no,
We are all hashtag Notion nerds in here.
here we go. Right, Danny's gonna celebrate because I have this, which I was experimenting with the the banners. I was thinking, let's see whether I like it or not. And the answer to that question is I don't really like it still. I can see why people like it, but I'm just like, I don't like it. It's just weird. And the moment you do anything, it breaks. And that to me just bugs me. So anyway,
on a quick note on that, actually, I saw someone those of you watching maybe in the Reddit, there's a subreddit on Talk About Notion, and someone posted their version 2 dashboard with the borders, and I posted mine, I think it was like 4 or 5 days earlier, and what they'd done is they'd color coded it down. So I use orange because orange is my color, and what they've done is they've gone like blue, green, yellow, red, orange, something like that, down the page. So they've sort of like color graded the page with the dividers, which I thought was pretty cool, pretty nice idea. And then they've used like backgrounds to match those colors as well.
Oh, it is pretty cool. I'm just really boring. Like, this is me trying.
I would get distracted by too many colors. Like, I'm a visual person, but specific. I just need to see a few things only.
Yeah, I'm the same. I want to see as little as possible. And then when I want to go kind of deeper into there. So, for example, this is kind of like all of my meetings that I'm planning on doing. So if I have a team meeting, this is just a filtered view of every single type of meeting that I'm going to be doing. That way I can track how many calls I've got this week, or how many retainer calls I'm doing, or discovery calls, or coaching calls. I have the ability to see that on one page, which I just find really useful.
So the meeting tracker, I can see it's a linked database.
Yeah.
Is that your like task database, or is that just a separate?
No, that's a separate meeting database. I realized, can I actually show that one? I realized I just made that really quickly away, just in case I can't. But yeah, it's its own separate database. I keep things in kind of like silos instead, because I like having certain bits of information, but I don't. If I was to put a task database, like I would have to have many of these in there as well, and it would just get annoying.
You're waiting for that properties toggle.
I am so waiting for that properties toggle.
Like I've seen like people making like code to make it like as it is now, which looks pretty cool. But when it actually is like native in Notion, that's when I'll use it.
Yeah, I can't do the hacks. Like, they just make me feel a bit uncomfortable. And also, this is actually the browser, not in the browser. I don't know whether it would work in there. I suppose it is just a browser, isn't it? Like a thing. But yeah.
No idea.
No. Okay, so,
Roxanne, do you use any of like the hacky code, like secondhand API Python stuff? No.
I really don't like that, because you invest so much time and energy on those APIs, but you know that when the Notion one is gonna come, you will have to migrate everything. So I see like as double work. So you have to work again to set up your workspace. I'm just like waiting for it to come, and then I will try it on Notion itself.
yeah. I mean, I set up my Notion account to pretty much not need an API at the moment. I think you're the same, Danny. We were discussing it the other day, where we're just like, we don't care about API. Like, we don't really need it. The thing that probably would be useful for an API is like adding people to pages when you sell a template of some sort.
I actually just want it for Google Calendar. That's the only thing I want, because I use Google Calendar a lot.
That would be cool.
Like they're the two main things in my head that would be useful is like integrating with Google Calendar, so you can have your events, because like at the moment obviously Notion doesn't integrate with everything else, but everything integrates with Google Calendar, like for events like Calendly and all the other events and stuff you can make on places. A lot of the time you can link Google Calendar to it, but if you can link Google Calendar to Notion, essentially you've got a link everywhere, which I think would be pretty cool. And then emails. At the moment, I'm just like copy URL and then paste it into the page, because my tasks / events are disposable pages. So I just dump the link in there. But Yeah, it'd be nice. Be nice.
It would. They'll get there. I like what Torrance put. Which would come first, the Notion API or a cure for COVID?
I saw Torin posted that in, I think it was the Facebook group. I saw it and I was like, good question. I don't know the answer to that one. Have you got anything else you want to share, John?
I'm trying to think whether there's anything else I can share.
Mildly restricted.
Yeah, client stuff. So I'm just trying to think.
I'm curious. You're using the magnifying glass as your icon. So my brand is actually a magnifying glass, like an orange one, and then my workspace is a magnifying glass. Why magnifying glass? I'm just curious.
Focus. It's kind of like zooming right in for me.
Okay, yeah, it's the same as me. Like, I'm always looking. So
that was one thing I didn't realize I copied from you.
It wasn't even a copy. Like I think mine goes the other way.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just because it was when I needed to, I could go back and focus. And that for me is like, this only shows me today. This only shows me what I need to look at today. So it's kind of immediately look at this. And then when I want to go somewhere else, I can look at my week, or I can look at, all the other stuff I want to look at.
And a very last, I guess, kind of like petty odd question is, why do you call it your bin dashboard? Business in Notion, obviously, but...
Yeah, because it was funny.
Hi, Jacqueline. Good to see you from Brazil.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Can you guys hear the lawnmower outside?
No.
No. Oh, phew, good. Okay.
Everyone's going to listen really closely. Can we hear it?
Well, if you can't hear it, then it's not too loud. Roxanne, are you sharing your screen?
Let me share.
And then we can have a look at Roxana's screen. If any of you have any questions about like how to use Notion, how we use Notion, or anything like that, you can put it in the chat, because there's not much going on in the chat. And I do have some questions in the form and some that I've been given throughout the week that I'll go over after we've gone over Roxana's space. And both of you can stay around for that if you want. I mean, I'm sure we'll get some ideas from that. If not, then if you're limited on time, then we can go. There we go. Can you see that, Jonathan?
Yep.
Good. Right. I would ask the chat, but the chat's like 10 seconds delayed. So I'll be like, chat, can you see that? Wait 10 seconds in silence. And so, Roxana, your space.
All right. So this is my. I thought about the icons on the dashboard, like Danish, but I'm not used to it, to Notion yet. So for me, I just need to see the icons and the text for now. Maybe in the future I will steal that also from Danny. Who knows?
Just make sure you say it was from him.
I want credit. No, it's fine.
So this is the first thing I see every day, and every day I go down to see. I got the flashcard from Danny, the space interpretation. So I'm trying to learn what OKRs are. So this is the first topic that I'm learning. And I built a habit tracker. That's one that was from Gregory that I copied that template, and I like this one because if you go inside of it and you click the progress, you can see like every day how well you did that specific day throughout the month or throughout the year. So that's why I like this one. Oh, and I'm like John. The less click I do, the better. So some of my dashboards have like little things like here. From the habit tracker, I will go to my client dashboard of the flow, or my main dashboard that is here. So I always like to keep something small. So when I'm done here, like every morning, then this is the first thing I'm gonna see every day throughout the day. So this is I call it flow. So this is kind of based on August dashboard, but I have a few little things differently. So my task, I like to see the name of the task, but I also like to see like what project is it and for which client. So, and I will also like to see the deadline, and if it's on track or it has a delay or it's a block. So here is my task. So if you click on it, you will see all the things that how I built it. It has like the due date, uh,
So
the project.
I'm curious. I'm curious. You're in a database page, not
Yeah,
like a page with an inline database. Is that like your preference to see like all of the stuff, or
yeah, because down here, I will have my habit tracker throughout the day, and down here I will have my task and other things.
right? Okay. It's like I haven't seen many people actually use the database page. Most of the time, when there's a database page, it's just sort of like hidden away in the archives, and people are just like looking at small things. But you actually use the page like in your workflow.
Yeah, I like to do that.
That's pretty cool because I don't do that myself. I have it as just there, out the way. Yeah, that's really cool.
Out of mind.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually.
So I stole this from Aga, so I like this, so I can see if I have a task for tomorrow. So I can just come here and just see. I have to create a design. I know what client it is and what's the name of the project. Because if I only have create a design, I would have no idea what it is. Then I will have to click on it, and that's an extra click that I don't want to do. And if the project is on track or over delay or block, then I would also like to see that. And then I have all the tasks from this week, of coming week, so I can just see an overview of what all the tasks that I need to do over this week.
So that's like your weekly view, because obviously Jonathan's got like a board with his like tasks, and that's your weekly view then.
Yeah, I might actually steal that from John because I liked how he set it up. So I might have to see the live stream again and see how he did it because it's kind of nice because you just drag and drop, and they just change it. So
I
I
might
think
do
I'm gonna
a
steal it.
video this week because I am releasing videos now, Danny.
I'm done roasting you, John. We're good friends.
Oh, cool.
And then next one is waiting on. So this is like all the projects that are blocked or I need a client feedback or I'm waiting for something. This I learned for Termayan, I think. He's another Notion Pro. He was given a live stream and he had this status. So if I click here and if I delete it, it'll be on track. So if I'm waiting on someone, client feedback, it will be blocked.
Ooh.
I love that. Like I need to have that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. That's really cool. I like that because I'm often having to wait on people. So
So
that's actually a really good idea.
so this is like all my task, and these are my projects. So I have two databases. So on my projects, I would like to see like which client it is. If it's blocked, I would like to see why it's blocked. So I'm waiting for a client or I'm have to review it or something. And the last thing is the deadlines. Sorry, a plane is. I left next to an airport, so a plane just coming over. Give me a second. Commercial time.
Someone's still like mowing the lawn outside for me.
Okay, so here I have like a deadline, but I have two deadlines. The last one is the main deadline of the project, and the first one is the current task of the project that I have to do. So if I click here, like this book design, I have like Danny, I created a template and I had all these things up here, and then I put it in the task database. So here, the next deadline is this task. So let's see. I asked Danny for help, so that I wanted to see two dates. The so if this checkbox is not clicked, that's the thing that you will see the due date. But when the task is done, uh, the due date will be empty. So when I put the I don't know how to explain this. So when I put it here, this formula, it will only show the task that needs to be done. So this one.
Yeah, so I think the idea is like when you tick the box, you don't have to see like the date because you've done it. That's the idea, right?
Yeah, like yeah, because I always want to see like which is my next task that I need to do. So if I click here that this task is done, in my page here, I will see that the next task is July 2029. So I always have like an overview of which is the next task and the deadline, and how many tasks the project has, and how many tasks I have done already.
It's a lot of information in like one block. So the
I
block
know.
is that like a project block then? And then so that's like a project gallery. And then inside all the tick boxes, they're all your tasks. And as you tick the task off, the progress then moves. Right. Got it.
So,
Get my head around it. Yeah.
so the main thing I was thinking like what I have to do is to not click this. So just to have a visual. So I don't usually click on these because I only need to see what's in here to have the main thing done. And here I would just look at my task, what today, what I need to do.
Make sure you untick those boxes, by the way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be like, what? I haven't done this yet.
So that, and if I have time, see some extra tasks that I need to do with Notion, like finish export in my Evernote notes or something like that. And right here, I have like the calendar of my tasks, so I can just quickly drag and drop if I need to change anything. It's the same like here, but I find it much faster to just drag and drop.
Yeah.
Click drag and drop. I try and make everything, like every process, I'm like just drag and drop everything. So if I'm changing a date, it's a calendar. If I'm changing like adding tasks, I'm going to turn them into pages and drag them into a database. Like it's so much quicker, especially like when filtering stuff as well, using filtered views of a database to add a tag, whatever it is. I use that in my notes database where I'm like, this is a note and I want to tag it with YouTube, for example. I'll have the note in my notes database and then I'll just drag it over to the YouTube filter, and then that automatically adds the relation to YouTube, which is my tag, because I don't have a tags database. I use my areas as tags. But yeah, drag and drop speeds up so much.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love drag and drop.
Yeah. So here
It's quite natural as well.
yeah, it's much faster, I think. So here I have like other tasks, and the thing I want to see again is what's the project of that task, and what client is that project from. And I also like to see this sometimes, but sometimes I'm like it's too much, so I just will take it out. And
Something that I have actually noticed with both of your spaces, I don't know whether it was like deliberate, but you have a view of the database, but that's like it. It's not like I have these 15 different views of this same database, with like the click drop down view menu. And I'm just like looking through, and it doesn't look like you've got like 10 different views of that calendar in the drop. You may have in the drop down menu. Where you've got like different views of the database. Have you got?
no, I actually have just two. From the task, I have two, and from the projects, I also have just two. Like this is my all the projects that are active. So here I can see again which client it is, how many tasks, and how the project is doing. Is it overdue? If the deadline is the day of exit on track. And here, if I need to change the date of the project, I will also do the same thing. So to change the
So
date more easily.
you've made those. Are they cover photos, images for the gallery?
So, like I said, I'm very visual. So I know like the pink backgrounds are like more design types. The yellow ones are more like content writing or something like that. And the black one are just for my own company, so my own task. And the blue ones are for development or UX UI.
I was just reading Torin's thing in the chat. He says, so you don't go as far as Marie and have a whole tags database. Personally, no. Like I, the so I think. I mean, obviously, it's personal, and I think because a lot of people have come from other places, whether it's like Evernote, OneNote, and they're used to tags, like they're used to that system of using tags. I can't remember. Is Maria or was Maria an Evernote user? I know she used Asana. I don't know if that uses tags. I don't know the software well enough. But for me, I don't see at the moment a use for a tags database because I can filter things because of either the project they're related to, the area they're related to. So I can just filter the information for the spaces and the databases I've already got rather than having to add another property and the massive drop down select list of however many things that I've got in there. But that's me anyway. Yeah, she used Evernote and Asana. Okay, I got that right. Woo! I actually need to talk to like Marie like face to face because I haven't spoken to her yet. But I've been in her like crowdcast streams for like months. I've spoken to her obviously in the Notion Pros group for like I don't know, month and a half. I haven't actually like face to face spoken to her yet. Yeah.
I
John,
really haven't seen Marie in workspace because I just want to because I already found you, so the things I need to learn is I can easily implement, and I know if I look at other people's workspace, I will get like I will get too distracted, and I would just like to experiment that I get lost. So I just want to find like a source that it will teach me just one thing and how I can implement it.
Yeah, I know. John did an office hours with Marie, so he's had. It was the first one. Is that right?
Yes, it was the first ever one, and I showed my course planner. So like I develop online courses, and I she started in Notion, and yeah, I showed that on the first ever one.
So this is my projects, and like John, I copied this from Danny. So let's see, I have a new project, like a logo, brand guide of web design. This are my templates. So if I click on the logo design, I will have all these steps, and then I will drag it to my task database so I can see it. But I'm not gonna do that. All right, we can do it.
The amount of times I've done that when I show people through my space, I'm like, I'm going to have to create a project, put the tasks in to show how everything works. And then after the call, I'm like, right, where are all those random like new video, new task things? I'm like, I need to delete everything now.
Yeah.
Which is why when you tick the boxes, I was like, make sure you untick them. So I've done that before. I've ticked off a task and then I'm like, I swear I need to do that thing. And I do, but the task is now obviously in my done section. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to go back and uncheck it. Gail said in the chat early on she would slip and call Notion Evernote. Yeah, that's what I thought. And she's a para user. So when it comes to para, GTD, PPV, whatever other letter abbreviations there is out there, do you guys follow anyone in specific, or do you just sort of like take bits from where you see and sort of like dump it into your own thing? That was really technical there, wasn't it? Dump it in your own thing.
For me, I didn't use a lot of those type of things, but ever since I found about Notion, I've been just following people, and most of the people do the pod assistant and the other ones. So I actually implement kind of a para system in my Notion, but it's not fully integrated. Just I took some parts that I like only. And the OKRs also, I learned from someone else, just watching a Notion video. I'm like, I found it really easy and fun to use, and I'm now implementing that also in my workspace. So.
Yeah, that was either Will or Conrad. Conrad uses like the OKRs kind of system in his gamification, and then Will speaks about OKRs in Office, Notion at work. Well, I was going to say Office at work, then Notion at work. John, do you use Para, GTD, PPV, your own abbreviated system?
No, yes and no. I'm kind of the same. I kind of take bits that I like and then make them my own. Like the way I see it is that they're kind of frameworks for my like Google Drive and storage. I do use Para. Like that's how I manage to keep everything kind of very similar. So I obviously have my projects. I don't really have areas as such. I think it's kind of similar to yours, that kind of my areas are like information cross between an area and a tag at the same time, which I think is kind of similar to you, Danny. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of a bit of both. Whereas my resources, my resources is just a page with all my databases on it now, because and I could simplify that and put it into a database tag, but then I really would be moaned at by Danny that I'm just copying all of his stuff. It is a
do what you want.
I know. For anyone who doesn't understand, we are just winding each other up.
Yeah. So a question for both of you. Actually, I'll ask that question in a second. So for me, I explained this in my 3 setup video, I think. So I go through like GTD, Para, and the PPV system. So Para by itself doesn't fit in Notion because Para doesn't incorporate tasks. It just doesn't. So you need like a T, Para. And then the archives side of Para, I don't really have like an archive space. It's incorporated in my other things. And that's the question I'm going to ask you guys. So I'll give you a heads up before you go on. And then with the GTD, it's depending on how like specific you're going to go into GTD will shape your space, because the principles of GTD is essentially in everyone's space. But how much you follow that specific system will change of what features you input. But I take the review aspect of GTD, put that into the PA of the Para system, and then the pillars, pipelines, and vaults, for those of you that haven't seen August Bradley's stuff, PPV. It's kind of like the vault system that he uses. I don't take the vaults, but the mind expansion, I think that's his area, or that's what he calls his area, the mind expansion of learning. I don't take that, but I use that concept as notes. So I have like tasks, projects, reviews, and notes. And you could sort of like match and mismatch and change the names of them. But essentially they're like the 4 corners of mine. I don't even know what abbreviation that is. What's that? TPRN. Yeah, I don't even know what word you can make with that. But but yeah, when it comes to archive and information, how do you two deal with it? Do you archive? Do you just delete it? What do you do? Either. Anyone start. You just... Roxana's like, nope, don't do it.
No, I don't archive anything because, I don't know. Everything that if I have an article of a topic I'm interested, I will put it in my learning workspace where I have everything there. But no.
I'm just reading through Gail's comments. So I'll read them out for those of you that can't see, or on the replay you can't actually see the comments. I don't think anyway. It's a strange phenomenon, but the amount of YouTube content made by users of different methods inspires me to dabble in some, but not really commit to one methodology. Yeah, and I think I think a lot of people can resonate with that, because everyone has their own way of working, their own system, their own workflow. But you can take small bits, whether it's like a bit from, we were talking about this before, Roxana, like before stream, I was saying like the videos that I make are like 3-4 minute snippets. Like you could add this or you could add that. And like watching other people's system, you're like, this whole system won't work for me, but I'll take that one thing there or that bit over there, and you like add them all in and mash it all together. But yeah, Jonathan, do you want to go over your archiving? Do you archive? Do you have an archiving space?
Sort of. In Notion, I have an archive section, but I very rarely refer to it. I don't delete things because I archive very freely. Like I'm like, okay, cool, project's finished, archive. Like I'm very much on a weekly basis going through my projects and going, okay, have I done with that recording? Yeah, okay, cool, archive. And then if I want it, I can go and get it. So I don't really delete stuff because I like having it there for reference. Say, for example, I'm working on a project for one client and they've made a note and I'm like, oh yeah, that's really cool. Let me record that information down and then I can look at it later on. I can always go back and find it because of Notion search functionality. I just would prefer to keep everything. Well, I don't keep everything. I keep what I really want. And if I don't want it, it doesn't go in the first place. So yes, I have an archive, but it's not a traditional, I'm never going to look at this again. It could go in the bin. Anything that goes in the archive does not go in the bin. It's ironic, by name of my company, Business Notion, is not going in the bin. So stuff from the bin doesn't go in the bin. I don't throw anything away because I find value in stuff that I worked on 3, 4, 5 months ago, 1 year ago. You know, I have like my old templates that I had when I first started, and there's always use for them because I can be like, okay, cool, let's look at that. Like I don't, for example, I have a formula archive in my private area where I have archived formulas that are like, I really liked that one. It worked really well. I didn't like it. And I put it away and left it in this folder. And then like I bought it back when I found a use for it for someone else. I always like to store information because then I can share it with other people. Because going back to the thing that Gail said about having like different methodologies and bringing them all together, I find that even if it may not work for me, it will work for someone else. And as I do coaching as well, I might as well have that information so I can share it with other people when they need it.
Yeah, and like with me, I don't have an archive space. Like the projects that I've finished stay finished, so the tick is still there, so it doesn't disappear. It just stays there. So my projects database is kind of an archive, and it's the same with my notes. Like all of the notes that I have a flashcard for, so I don't really archive them because they appear on my space whenever they need to. But when those flashcards go, then it's in my areas, and I review all of my areas every. I'm going to have to remember the formula number. I think it's 10, maybe 14, 12, something like that. Days. I don't remember because Notion does it for me. But I review all of my areas every whatever frequency it is. So nothing gets lost, like in Evernote. Nothing gets lost at the bottom of that pit because I use the projects and the flashcards to sort of resurface information when it needs to be resurfaced. I've just seen in chat, so Gail has sort of like renamed it apart. So the para just renamed it, put the T as a task and apart. I like it. And then Torrent has his own, tentatively has his own system, Piper. See, that's a name that you can sort of get behind. GTD, para. It's sort of like, okay, you've got to remember those. But Piper's like a name, so that'd be cool. What is it? What is it? It's personal interests, projects, education, and resources. Well, okay. Roxana, over to your carry on with your space. We sort of went on a bit of a tangent there.
Yeah. So here's the new project that I made. Yeah, if you can see, it doesn't have a deadline. So if it doesn't have a deadline, I have a formula that will tell me to put at the deadline because I'm kind of mostly focused on time. And I just like to have this overview of all the things. Like some projects have a deadline, some projects are quick task. So like this one, like social media handling, is a recurrent project, so it doesn't have a deadline.
That could bring us on to an interesting topic.
Oh no! Don't do that! No!
So
I'll save it.
so this is the formula, but I have no idea how I did this because I just copy and paste and I would just play and to see how it works. And when it works, like, okay, it's done. I don't have to touch it anymore.
I think a lot of people do formulas that way. They're like, as soon as the done button goes good, you're like, okay, cool. Does it work? Quick check. Yes, it does. I'm not touching it again.
So I have to have like two main formulas that tell me how the project is doing. This one is like the deadline and the deadline of the next task. This is the deadline of the project and the deadline of the next task. And also the name of the project and what client it is. And the status one. So I love this because if I put it just to active, it will change and it will tell me, okay, it's an active project. So an active project needs to have a deadline. So if I put the deadline like today, so it would say deadline is today. If I put it like yesterday, it would tell me project is overdue. So
Yep, I like it. Like I personally don't have anything like that because my space, it just shows me what I need to do. But I've debated, like I've put it in, I've taken it out, put it in, taken it out, and I think I'm going to leave it out. Just I don't really know why. It just sort of like it's another property that I don't necessarily need. But yeah, it's nice, especially when you can add, because it's a formula, you can add whatever you want with it. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, I do this because I mainly work with other people, so I need someone else input, or maybe I'm waiting for the asset. So mine is really relying on this, and if I can see that project, I'm waiting for someone, I would like to see that there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I also took the time to just make all the covers of my templates like this. So when I just see colors like this, I see these are all our designs, these are our content, and these are other type of things. So I can just with color I can see how many projects I have, but what kind of project I have.
I'm just going through questions in the form. I know, so I've read through a couple of the questions beforehand, and they're kind of like bigger questions. But I've just got one from, I apologize if I say your name wrong, Brigitte. Yep, I'm going to leave it with that one. And she said, well, he, I'm not sure. Any suggestions for sleep log? Thanks for the amazing examples. So when it comes to sleep logging, there's actually something that someone's asked beforehand, and I don't think it was you, it may be you, that I'll go over after this. But do either of you, while we're in like sort of like your spaces, do either of you have a sleep log, sleep tracker? Neither of you do. Okay. I just thought I'd ask while we're there. No. Okay. After we've gone through Roxana's space, I'm actually going to go over a couple of different ideas that I've seen and have about sleep logging. But at the end of the day, like you can't automatically put numbers into Notion. So it'd be a case of putting in when you went to sleep and putting in when you woke up. And then you can make it automatically calculate, which I'll be showing once Roxana's finished. But yeah, so there's that. You can carry on now, Roxana.
All right, so here I have my project, and again I have the project, but in a calendar view. So if I see that a project is overdue, then I will just drag it here to change the deadline. And if I see if a project is blocked, then I will see what I can do to take action. So these are all my main views for project and tasks. I have two views, this one and the calendar one. And the last thing I will show is my client a little bit. So this is like all the clients that I have. Let's take for example this I learned from Hermaya, I think. Uh, I saw a live stream that he had a dashboard for client and his own personal dashboard, and he divided his dashboard. Like here, you can see this is a client I'm working on book design, so I can just filter my project database for a specific client, and I have notes.
I do
And
something
here
similar.
Yeah.
And here I have like a client dashboard, so my client can see this, but I will have like a space where he can see, uh, he needs to see some part of the task that is being done. And here's where I use the global block from last week. Okay, this one is John, I think. I don't know from who I stole this.
Yeah, we'll give John credit for that one.
To be fair, you can't give anyone credit for anything because when you look at it, really, everyone's doing something similar. Like, of course, we're all teasing and being silly, but like at the end of the day, there are only a certain few ways you could do a certain few things. It's more how we look at it.
Yeah, like it's something that I spoke to Lennon, one of the other pros, about. So Lennon's a designer, and it's Notion has blocks. Like Notion has the building blocks. That's it. You can't go outside of those building blocks. It's what you do with those things, and essentially you can just build the same thing. Like it's just how you make it look, and maybe what formula you put in there, or how you interact with things. But at the core of everything, it's a database with the same properties.
Yeah.
And you can either make it look visual, like Rosanna, make it look boring, like someone else that's on stream. Minimal. We'll use minimal.
I thought you said you finished bullying me. Seriously.
I'm not bullying you. I'm having fun.
At my expense.
That's what fun's about, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
That was the last thing in your space, wasn't it, Roxana?
Yeah. I think that's it. I have a few other, like my learning space, my finance, my library. So those are like work in progress right now. The one that I finished is my library, so that's the one that I like most.
I see. I assume that's a widget on the side, the weather widget.
Yeah, I have no idea who I stole this from. It was, I think someone on Reddit posted a post that you can add weather widgets. I'm like, oh, I like that idea. Let's put it in.
Right. What's going on? Sleep login. Okay, so I think that's both of the spaces. So what we'll do is I'll drag you over there. I'm going to cover up the questions now, aren't I? So move that over there. I am doing stuff. I'm not just like talking to myself. Right. Live stream page. So we will. Am I even sharing mine? Oh, Jonathan, you stop sharing yours. That's why.
Yeah.
There we go. So you two can sort of like stay and answer the questions with me, because I'm sure you'll have your own preferences, your own answers to some of these questions. I know a couple of the questions are a little bit bigger with builds, but we'll see if we agree or whether we have different opinions. So first question from the form is from Adam. And Adam has said, I am preparing for objective type exam, so I need some sort of table that reminds me to revise the topic which I have studied a week before. Can you make a video on a template that allows me to enter what I study every day and reminds me after 1 week to revise what I studied before the 7 days? So there's a couple of ways. I put a question in the form for Roxana. I will get to that one in a second, Gail. Yes, I've just seen it in the form. So when it comes to like calculating the days after anything like that, it's really down to just using a formula to show. I can't think of any other way to do it. Would either of you approach it a different way? No, you'd approach it the same way. So for Adam, it was Adam. When you've got your date, whether you mark this as last done, whatever revision date it is, you'd put that date in, and depending on how you want to see it, you said a week. Is it a week after or a week before? I've gone to the other form now. Here we go. It was 7 days before. So you can have, when you come into the formula, live formulas, here we go. I'm just going to add because it's the first one that came up. And you can either go 1 week or excuse me? Any idea why that's not showing, guys?
No.
Okay, that should be showing. Let's. What is going on here? Is Notion just being like fiddly? That's definitely a last done. That's definitely a date. Add 1 week. They should be showing a date. It's not just me going mad, is it?
Hang on.
Date add. Last done. Let's go 7 days instead. Have I not put the S? No, I didn't put the S. There we go. There we go. Why did it let me put it in if the syntax was wrong?
I was wondering.
I was like, it shouldn't let me put it in if the syntax is wrong. Okay, Notion bug. I'll have to mark this down on the timestamp. Notion, check this out. That shouldn't work. Yeah, so you can see. They're saying the same date. Actually, that's good. So you've got 7 days or 1 week, and I guess you could be like months, but that's the easiest way to do it. And then you can view these on a calendar if you want to see it in a calendar view, and just change the calendar by calendar by. So if we go into add view, we go into the calendar. This is something that I've actually spoken to Notion about. I think, John, you may have seen it in the pros thing. But if we could see, like, when we sort by calendar, so when we come into calendar by, it would be really nice, and I think it would kind of solve the recurring task thing as well. If we could see more than one of these dates at a time. Sanjay, good to see you. Just arrived, looking good. Channel 4 Notion. If you are new, then there is a form in the description below if you want to ask any questions. And then Jonathan and Roxana can talk about, will this be available after? Yes, it will, as are all of the other streams. So feel free to have a binge watch. When Jonathan was on last, we had a bit of fun in the middle. But yeah, the streams are available afterwards. All of them are. And if you have a question, put it in the form in the description below. That's where we're going through now. Yes. So I was just saying. So with the dates, if you could view more than one of these dates at a time, I think it would solve the recurring task issue kind of, because you could have like 4 different like iterations of whatever the thing is, and then all you have to do is put in the one date, and then it would show all of the others on the calendar. But at the moment, you can only do one. So you can see this is now 1 week after, because that is what this calendar is showing. So if we go calendar by, we're showing the files. I really should have renamed that so it makes sense. But you can see that's the files, which is the 1 week. So that would be how you can view those further in advance. If you go onto my, this is going to be a challenge. So I have a couple of templates in here that go through revision. I actually went over last stream of this template. Did I? Yes, last stream this template, which is kind of similar. It doesn't have the date, but if you incorporate exactly what I've just done into this, you can see like how well you've revised. Yeah, we'll go revised. Words, English. You can see how well you've done with that revision, and then you can review whatever topic, chapter, subject it is with the date formula that I've just shown, and you can add that stuff in. And that's where, like, these sort of templates, you can take the template, add things, take things, and I think that's kind of what we all do with everyone else's space. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So hopefully that answers your question, Adam. If you're in stream, let me know in the chat. If you want me to expand on anything, if you're on the replay, then just put it in the comment section below and I will answer that. So that is the question from that form. I really need to update that form. That's an old form. So the first question on this form is from Pamela. Is there a way to calculate business days between two dates? Hope you can help. Thanks. When you say business days, I assume you're talking Monday to Friday. And not including Saturday, Sunday. If you don't want to include Saturday, Sunday, I'm using the Nimbus notes before. I'm just reading this from chat. That was not part of the sentence. I just realized. I'm using a Nimbus notes before I hear. Oh, I've never actually heard of Nimbus notes. That's one of those things that's not on my app list. I've got like 100 and something on my apps list. Nimbus notes. Have either of you used Nimbus notes?
No.
No. Okay. So business days. So when it comes to calculating business days, essentially you need to take out the Saturday and Sunday. Yes, you can do it. It will require formula messing around with, and it could be a bit of troubleshooting depending on what days you want. When it comes to working out those days in between, you can use a date between formula. So let's just go with an end date. Let's go there. So we've got 1 week. Come to here. Date between. Then I'm going to use start of which one? Last done. And that's there. And then end of that there. Bracket. Too few arguments in what? Oh, date between, and then in days. There we go. Got it. Oh, mouse clicks. Can't use it. There we go. Torin, wish there was a better term for business days. As a freelancer, every day can. That's very true, Torin. Every day can be a business day.
Yeah. All three of us on stream on a Sunday.
Very true. But this is free time. This is free time. It's not business time. I mean, I guess it's free marketing, but yeah. We'll go with that. So what I've done here is I've calculated the days. If you're looking specifically for business days, you'd have to add things in or take things out of the formula. So for here, what you can do is just -2 from this to take it to 5 because you've got Saturday and Sunday in there. If you did want to make a bit of a more convoluted formula that takes out Saturday, Sunday and doesn't count them, then you can do that. Very similar to something I did in my recurring task video for the, I think it was a weekly one, where I sort of combined things together, but it's definitely doable. What I'll do actually is I'll put it on my template to build list, and then I'll show that in there. So what's that? Days between business days. Days between business. You can have a say if you want, John or Roxana.
Do with it because you could have it so it shows you what the day was, and then if it was a Saturday or a Sunday, then you could remove it from it there. I would assume. So like you format a date, and then
as in like a day in here and then a day in there.
Yeah, you would have, and then it would format between the date between, and then you would figure out what day that is. I'm just trying to figure out how you could do that. That's really cool. Another one that I really like the sound of.
I have no idea.
Because you could
new to formulas. I can understand them, but I cannot actually work with them.
You could somehow check what the days were in between, which obviously you can't like view the days as like just showing what day they are. So like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like the date format being what they are. And then if it is a Saturday or a Sunday, then you delete it. And then you take one or take 2 away, depending on how many of them there are.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with that, though, is if you've got 2 weeks or it finishes on Saturday, whatever it is, you then need like another date formula, or either another date property to get rid of the weekend or whatever it is, or you'd have to find a way to take those out. What I would probably do, actually thinking about it, because it's looking at numbers, is if you are looking Monday to Fridays, your business days, essentially you've got 5 days. So what you can do is in here, actually, let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Ooh, this is going to be, how do I want to do this? Because I don't want that as a negative. Do I put it as an abs or do I just turn around? No, I'm just going to turn around because I'm lazy like that.
You're going to put more work. You're going to do more work. Yeah, that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
I'm not going to add. Yeah, I'm not going to add in formulas. So what you can do is we're going to go there, and then if that is bigger than 5.
Oh.
So if that is bigger than 5, then because essentially we can use this again. Copy, paste. So if that's bigger than 5, then we only want it, because we want it to -2, then we want to do that -2. If it's, so I need to see if it's between 5 and, because it'll have to go to the next week. Yeah, that's the formula I will play with, because I've got how to do it in my head, but I won't go all the way through it now because I can't imagine everyone wanting me to troubleshoot this and then me maybe not make it. What I'll do is I'll make it, then I'll show it on next stream, because that's what I do at the end of the streams. I'll go through all the templates and stuff I've made. But that's the process. Jonathan can probably see where my mind's going with this. Roxanne, can you see where I'm going with it? Okay.
I'm still a little basic with formulas.
But yeah, so that's how I'm going to go about doing it. So have a look at the templates either at some point during the week. I may have made it, but by next week I will, fingers crossed, have done that. Next question is from Heath. So Heath, this is a bit of a longer question. So, okay, it's not a question, but a comment. I watched your roll-up of a roll-up video a few days ago. Cool. I wanted to roll up a roll-up in my task database. My use case was to return the area of a task based on what project that task was assigned to. Your approach was based on adding an extra property field and copying the roll-up field. Yeah, so for those of you that haven't seen that video, I just copied it using the formula property with equals property is text. As my use case, roll-up property was text, and what my formula equals returned was the URL. So I'm not 100% sure what that is, but if it's a text property, it will still the roll-up will still show a text, and the formula will still relay a text. If it's showing a URL, then the roll-up that you're rolling up is the actual relation property rather than the name of the relation. But I'll carry on reading the rest of this to see where this goes. For the original, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I fooled around with the formulas in 10 minutes until I realized I could manipulate this by changing the formula to an if formula. Yeah, that's definitely one way to go around, if you like with the URLs, because the URLs are not fun. The URLs of the relation, you're rolling them up. And then you got rid of that. Yeah. The tricky part when taking the middle part, yeah, okay. So assuming you're, so I'm guessing you have. Let's rename this to data 1. I don't think there's another database in my space called that, but we will find out when we start doing the relations. And if I see a load of datas, then I'll be like, okay, I do have one of those. So I'm going to need a roll up of a roll up. So I'm going to change this into a relation to data 2. Oh, look, database 2. See, I knew I had another one of those there somewhere. So that's D2. That's D1. I'll put space in the wrong place, never mind. So we want this one, row 1, row 2, row 3. Then we've got row 1. We only really need row 1. I'm going to need another database because I'm doing a roll-up of a roll-up, but we'll carry on. I'm just like blurting stuff out, and those people unfamiliar with Notion may get lost. But hopefully you can follow through. So what I've done is I've related this to all of these 3. So you can see there's that R1 in data 2. So those relations are there. Now what I want to do is I want to roll up some information. So I'm going to turn this into... we were talking about text, weren't we? So let's turn this into a text. Let's get rid of that because I don't want that. If you didn't know that, if you turn a date into a text property, it automatically adds in that @ and if there's a reminder, it'll automatically add in the reminder. The use case for that, I really don't know, because it only works when you're building something. But in case you didn't know, files, something exciting. I really don't know where that was going, but I can never when you have to come up with like inputting information on the fly, like something, I don't know. You probably noticed in my videos when I'm like, something exciting was being written right now. Yeah, so you can see here we've got the roll up. Actually, I could. Can I bounce this back? I think I can. Yeah, I can bounce this back. The point of this, there isn't one, but it saves me making another database. So I've got these, and these are showing as name, and name is identified by Notion as a text property. So this is really weird. So I'm going to roll up. Actually, I can't do that yet because I need to make the formula copy. I'm going to do that. So what I've done here, if you haven't seen that video, is this is the roll up, and you can't roll up a roll up. So in here, this won't show up, but this one will. So I'm going to use this formula to show that text property. And then when I come into here, I can then select the files, and there we go. So now I've got, essentially, this is related to the database 2, which is here. There's all 3 of those. And there is the roll-up of the roll-up. So I can see all of the things in this property that is related to this database. There may be a use case for that somewhere, somehow. Currently, off the top of my head, I can't think of one. But what I imagine you're seeing with the URL is when you come into here and you look at the property, you're coming and selecting the relation. So the relation is now going to give you this disgusting looking chunk of URL, which I imagine is what you're seeing there. And then you're going to get given tons of tut that you can't really use. So if you need the URL, then you'd have to change the formula to show and find whatever it is. But considering you're viewing, I assume anyway, you're viewing the information in this rollup and you're not going to actively use that relation or use that hyperlink. If you just change the rollup instead of selecting the relation property and you just use the name, then everything shows as text. Your guys' thoughts? Silence.
Pretty much what you said. Yeah. There's not really. I'm not sure.
I cannot think of anything.
I'm not 100% on the use case. So.
Yeah. Again, like if you want to like try and I mean, it wasn't really a question; it was a comment. But that was just like an observation for when you are doing a roll up of a roll up. Where's my little arrows gone? Oh, there we go. We got another question in the form. There we go. So the next question is from, this was the question that I mentioned earlier about the sleep log. So you can see, so during the week, you can see I've like added in a couple of notes in here. So I'll go over that in a second. Sleep tracking. So I'm going to delete that one so I don't end up doing it again. So when it comes to sleep tracking, it's going to be very similar to what I showed beforehand, which was with the dates. Let's just delete that one, actually. So you can either go with the date in one property and have include time, end date, and then basically it'd just be one day. And then that would be really bad, wouldn't it? Went to bed at 12 and you woke up at 12. No sleep. Let's go with something respectable. So you went to bed at 12 and you woke up at 8. There you go. And that would be essentially your sleep time. And when you're logging this, what you can do is you can have a filter, which is for today. I'm kind of expanding on what's been asked for here, but this is how I would approach it. And I assume you guys are similar. You'd add a filter to add in, and then it's like, oh, there's today. And then you can go in. Unfortunately, it doesn't automatically give you these two, but it's the quickest way to add the date in anyway. And then you add in whatever it was. So that one was, I don't know, 9:30 because you slept in. And then there's me that doesn't wake up till like 10 sometimes. So let's change that to that. Oh, it's going to be finicky. Fine. There we go. Oh, no. Changing dates on this can sometimes be, you know what? I'm going to leave that because I'm going to look silly, even though I already do look silly. But yeah, so you'd have that. And then if you did want to see how many hours you slept, this is going to be interesting because Notion is really finicky with timestamps, but we'll go with it anyway. Sleep time in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. I got rid of the thingy. We want start and end. For those of you that don't know what the start and end functions do, it is basically just looking at, because we've got essentially 2 dates in one property, and it's not going to work. Why isn't it working? Property not found.
It's because you've put.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just reading the syntax error. Yeah, so what this is doing is this is looking at the second date in that one property, and this is looking at the first date in that one property. You could have the sleep time as 2 different date properties, but I've just done it this way, so you can see it's -8 hours because I've done the maths the wrong way around. But yeah, you could. I'm not going to bother changing everything. I'll do it that way. Now you slept for 8 hours, and then you can work out how many hours you've slept, and you can add other things in, whether you can have a green dot to say you've slept enough, or you haven't slept in, like you've slept enough, green dot, you haven't slept enough, red dot, and you can expand on with that. Obviously, if you just looking at this on the replay, or if you've only just joined, we went through Jonathan and Roxana's space, and both of them use formulas to show different things, and you can add emojis and loads of other fancy stuff to formulas. But yeah. Is there another way you guys would approach this, or is this how you two would approach this as well?
No, the same.
Yeah.
Same approach. Nothing like springing out mind, or like out of their thinking. No, everyone's the same. Cool. Good consensus.
Yeah.
It's either my explanations are like so broad and they just cover everything, or Notion's just really restrictive. So next question is from Gail. I'm assuming Gail's still in chat. So this one is for Roxana. So Roxana, this is specifically for you. So I'm going to be quiet once I've said this. How did you create the page covers or content that shows in the project gallery view? If you made the images, how did you store them to upload them to be the page cover later? Over to you.
I think she's talking about the project. So when I make the template, let's see the logo design. I actually just uploaded the image that I made, saying logo design, and put it in that template. So every time I create a new project and I click the template logo design, that cover will show up. So I only have to upload it one time in my template of Notion.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what do you use to make the thing? Is it Photoshop? Is it Canva, Affinity?
I use Adobe Illustrator.
Adobe, of course. I should have led with that one. I think like
it did loads of them, and it was the one that you didn't list.
Like, I just picked the 3 that like I know Photoshop, but I've never used it.
Yeah.
I know Photoshop, but I've never used it. Canva was the first thing I used because it's free. And then Affinity is what I use now because it's like a one-time buy thing. It's the same like for my editing. For those of you that don't know, I use Filmora 9 for my editing for videos. So I buy it and that's it, done. Like lifetime sorted. It's the same with Affinity. Like I buy it, done, lifetime sorted. And Affinity does basically the same as Photoshop. Like there's some small things that you can't do, but I am by far like not good enough to know what any of that stuff means. So it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, I actually use Adobe for everything. I've been using like for more than 10 years, I think. So I'm kind of into that. I use almost all the programs.
That you're into the whole Adobe ecosystem.
Yes.
I've recently I haven't left because Premiere Pro is still there going, oh, if I need to do really flashy graphics for something. But I recently got Camtasia and that was it for me. I'm like, like the ability to just do something simple like zooming in Premiere is like hours. Camtasia, drag, drop, zoom in, you're done.
Like Filmora 9, it takes me like an hour to edit a video.
Yeah,
that's long.
But the thing is, Adobe is standard in my work field, so everyone's used Adobe program. So that's why
true.
I know about Infinity, but no one I know uses it, so I cannot change because if I work with that person, we will have like a lot of conflict doing a project together. That's why I always stay with Adobe.
That's fair enough. I apologize if I butcher your name, Sekotech. Good to see you from Lithuania. I have no idea what time it is there. Like time zones are all over the place at the moment. But if you are new to the stream, if you want to ask a question, there is a form in the description. So if you click on that, that's where I'm getting the questions from. And if you watch on the replay, so this is available after we finish, there will be timestamps because I will meticulously go through after stream and rewatch myself talking and add timestamps in because there's no easy way to do that on YouTube yet. Or I just get like Jonathan to do it for me. No.
Last time, but it didn't go so well, right?
Sorry?
The formula.
The last one we did it. You're like, Jonathan, you did timestamps. Yes!
And they were still wrong, but then mine were wrong as well, so it doesn't matter. Like they were all just wrong. Right, so next question from the form is from Christabel. Good to see you here, Chris. I assume it's Chris. My bad if it's not. So the question is, hello. I would like to know if the Kaizen method could be implemented in a training table, perhaps in which we have to practice to advance a little and see that progress automatic and motivating. So yes, you can. My understanding of Kaizen is kind of limited. Because I've seen lots of different people talk about it. Do both of you know what Kaizen is?
No.
Okay, so one does, one doesn't. Kaizen essentially is a methodology to be productive. Like I think that's the easiest way to explain it. Would you go with that, John?
Yeah. I was waiting for you to just leaning in to go, and how's he going to explain this? Let's go. Let's enjoy this. Just get popcorn. Watch and try.
Well, you can explain this as well, you know.
Nope.
Right.
Your stream.
Yeah. So I can give it to you, John. Your answer. Okay.
No, you are far. I am just the sidekick.
Implement in training table. So when it comes to implementing any external methodology or philosophy into Notion, the first approach I would take, as with anything, is to understand what exactly you want it to do. Either you can build a flowchart and try and implement that, or look at the system you currently have, because I assume you're using a Kaizen system in either Excel, in Docs, or you're documenting it some way, somehow. So either try and replicate that system in Notion, or work a way that Notion would work with your workflow to do that. When it comes to putting training tables and all of that sort of stuff, essentially we already, if you go back in the stream, we've shown projects and tasks which would work with the Kaizen method, to my understanding. I know Roxana showed her client's space, and the client space works very similar to tasks and projects, but it's labeled differently. So the fundamentals of the framework, database linked with database, tasks or projects or clients or whatever you name them, go into the databases. That framework, that system would work no matter how you label it. But when it comes to the small features about Kaizen that are slightly different, that's where you'd have to work out what you want to see, when you want to see it, where you want to see it, and how you want to put that information in. That's my attempt. Jonathan, over to you.
I'm just thinking, how would I? It would be the same. It would be similar. It depends on how much detail you want to go and how in depth you want to go. I don't know what that was all about, but it depends on how in depth you want to
Crocodile.
go. Yeah. I would kind of implement it in a very similar way to you. I would have it as a separate. I would have it as like its own database, and then be able to divide it down as detailed as you want. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think so. I see the progress. So as soon as I see progress on automatic databases, full stop. It's going to have to be databases. And you can do progress in so many different ways. I think I've got like 4 different templates explaining different progress like things. And then I got a couple of videos on progress bars as well. And there's loads of ways you can do it, but you have to be in a database because you need a formula to work out that progress. I'm just looking at your comment in the chat. Kaizen and some different types of practices. Yeah. I guess the different practices could be different projects, as in like templates in the database. Would that work, do you reckon? Yes, no, just anything from either one of you. So I'm not like just.
I thought you were asking, Christopher, not me. Yeah, I would have like a different. So I would actually have a Kaizen database as such, and then have it as a type, like for each type of practice. I do it. That's how I would do it if I was to do it.
I feel like the Kaizen space would be a bit of a longer building project, because there's so many small like nuances. It's not like a template that like myself, John, or Roxana, like none of us could build a template and be like, there you go, because it's got to match your workflow. It's got to match like how you work, how your clients work, and all of those sort of things. For those of you that have just joined, I've just seen the number like jump up. If you have any questions, put the question in the form in the description below. That's where I'm getting all the questions from. If it's a very quick one, we may grab it from the chat. And this stream will be available on replay, and I will have timestamps in afterwards, which I will get done after the stream. So I'm not actually seeing any added questions in the form at the moment. So what I'll do is go over these couple of questions that I have pre-stream. So for those of you that don't know, there is a link to the there's a link to the form in the description of all of my videos. So if you have a question and you want to find the form, just click on any of my videos and the form will be there. You can also contacted. That'd be great. You can contact me over Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Discord. Am I missing one? LinkedIn, YouTube comments, and just ask me a question. If it's a quick one, I can get back to you. If not, then I can answer it on stream and build it out. Or you could just be like Roxana and just come on and ask. Matt was on last week, and I think I've got Dimitri coming on next week. So, and then Jonathan sort of hanging around. I mean, Jonathan, you are like welcome here as much as you want. As are you, Roxana. Like anyone can come on stream and show what they've done. A database, when I check a box and check that box, you advance a little and you can see that progress. It's simple like that. Yes, Chris, I use that in my space. I think John, do you use a tick box for progress in your space?
Yes, somewhere. Yeah.
While we're on this question, voice. I have. Yeah. I don't. I mean, I only watch a couple of streams on YouTube, but I don't think there are as many as like this, like chilled. Most of them seem kind of like formal. But I mean, I am sure I'm wrong somewhere. Right now, I'm going to have to try and find this color progress. Is this going to work? Yeah, there we go. So I was just trying to find a progress bar. So essentially, like, this is the done, this is the total. This number, in this example, Chris, this is just a number. Yes, I have water, Torin. I am drinking it. I'm like halfway through the glass. But I don't want to drink so much that I need to go to the loo. It's like, I've been drinking, but I need to go to the loo. Yeah, so as a progress bar, you can see like this is like a traditional progress bar, like white being needs to be done. You can change the colors, change the emojis, do whatever. And I like
No one can see it.
We
What?
can't see your screen.
No one can see.
Oh. You should have told me that. There we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. I was looking at my screen and then talking to you guys. I was like, okay. I'll restart. So as you can see on screen, now we've got the colors. What was I even saying? Oh yeah. So the number column here can be a roll up from how many tick boxes you've done. So every time you've ticked something, that number will add up because it's a roll up. I may go into my space to show that. Have I got anything on screen? I'm not sure. But essentially, as this number goes up, that progress will then gradually move across. I use this because I don't like seeing all of this progress bar, so I have just this as a color code. So whenever I go around my space, projects, tasks, or anything like that, one for the blooper reel. Yup. I guarantee I'm going to end up doing that numerous times in the future as well. But yeah, so I have this in my space so I can see at a glance. Like I can just look through all of my projects and see all the colors to where my progress is, and it's all automatic from a tick box. So you could do that in your Kaizen space. Did you say something, John?
You and your colors.
I mean, is even labeled or named color progress bar. Like I do have like normal boring progress bars, like traditional. I'm going to search this because who's actually going to? Wow, have I really got that many emoji progress bars? There we go, progress bars. Like I do have normal progress bars. Actually, Jonathan, I'm curious. I'm gonna get your opinion on the last ones in a second for the formula. So you could do a progress bar similar to this, something like this. You can customize as much as you want. Wow, this is a really old template. I've still got that stuff on there.
That stuff.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I'll put my channel banner on there. And then I changed my channel banner. I was like, I need to replace them. And then changed it again. I was like, I need to replace it again. And I was like, you know what? I give up. I'm just going to go white. So for those of you unfamiliar with formulas,
hide.
Jonathan, do you want to explain this one actually? Do you want to go through and explain this one?
No.
Don't even ask me.
So this is Roxana. So this is actually a different formula to the one that I showed in my emoji progress bar video, because the emojis, some of them are two spaces wide, some of them are 2.5, some of them are 3, and some of them are 1.5, because emojis are silly. So the solution I gave in that video only works for emojis that are 2 spaces wide. This works for all of them. So I'm going to very quickly go over this, but I'm leaving this up on screen deliberately so that you can look at it, and it's a template so you can download it, you can duplicate it, and go through and mess around with it as you want. What I'm doing is, so you can see you've got done. So this is just a check. And what I'm doing is I'm taking this and saying, if I'm completed, put this, which is here. So if it's 10 out of 10, completed. If it's 20 out of 20, completed. So that's what it's showing. If it's not, then what I'm doing is I'm slicing. So essentially taking a part of these. So you can see we've got the red cross, and then we're going all the way across. And then I'm just slicing that through the number that it's showing. Where have we got the number? So we've got a lot of replace alls down here. So I'm slicing this and then replacing. Ooh, my TV is going to turn off. Come back on. There we go. That's why I have my remote there. So I'm replacing all of these numbers. So you can see these are the numbers. The 1, 2. Have I got 2 2s in there? Oh yeah. Yes, I remember. Yeah. So the 1 represents the cross. The 2s represent the red. The 3s represent the orange. 4s yellow. 5s 6. Yeah. So instead of instead of slicing the emojis, which will cause like an error triangle, I'm slicing numbers and then replacing the numbers with the color that I want, basically.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so that was my my workaround for that. And then whenever there's a space, it puts a white dot in there. That's for the progress bar. For this one, it's actually, I say it's simpler. It doesn't look simpler, but it is. It's the same principle. I'm just looking for those numbers, and then if it's a 2 and a 3, put a red. If it's 4 or 5, put orange. 6, 7, yellow. 8, 9, green. If it's not, then it's a cross. If it's done, tick, and green. So I'll leave that up on screen for the moment. Do either of you have progress bars in your space? I don't remember seeing many.
I have one for my habit tracker and one for my library. If a book, so I have the total pages of a book, and then I will just type what current page I am, and I will see the progress of that. How many from 1 to 100, how far I am in that book.
Okay, Jonathan, do you have progress bars?
I think I have one in my course tracker, but it's a really old formula which I need to like fix because it's really if.
You say that. My space repetition, the formula in my space repetition still is a load of if functions, and I've even got some bits in there that aren't even needed anymore, like the checks, because I made it so long ago. I made it like a year and a bit ago. I still have all of the old like formula checks in there to make sure this doesn't work and that, and yeah, I really need to update that formula, but I've just not got around to it. So as you can see, there wasn't actually many things that I answered that were templatable during the week. I've got a couple of things. Yeah, so I'll go through these because these are quick, and then I'll go over the other things in the space. If I've got any more questions, I do have a question in the form as well. This is a very quick one. This is just adding color to the dividers. So these are the dividers that I use in my space pretty much on all of my dashboards. Not today task. I changed the name. But what this is it's an inline math, which is this. So it's large because that's the size I've wanted it. I can choose the color orange, and you can put the hex code in, the RGB code in for whatever specific color you want. And then I've put the words in there, and you can change the words, add in any icon from the whole emoji menu to add some color to your space. So you can see it's just the inline equation. There is nothing else to that. That's a very nice, quick template to go through. Toggle headings. This was one that I actually shared on the Notion Made Simple Facebook group. Which are, so you can't put a heading in a toggle block. So these are headings, heading 1, 2, and 3. They are heading blocks, but these are also like the same size as headings. The table of content doesn't work with these because these are actually inline maths again inside a toggle block. So this is just heading with large text inside a toggle block, but it means you have a heading size text inside of a toggle. So that could be useful for when you're titling pages if you don't use table of content. If you're titling pages, you're looking for design things or anything like that. And then you've got some different text formats, fonts. So I know some people don't like the italic inline math, so you can make it like normal text by just telling it to put it as text, but then you still have, I don't even know what text. Roxana, you're a design person. Is that like sans serif? I don't even know what that is. What font is that?
What font?
The one that's highlighted. What font does that look like? I know this is like italics, but this has got like the bits at the top of the H and.
Serif.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Serif. And sans serif, it's like the one down.
Yeah, I was going to say I know this is sans something because it's an SF. I just know that SF makes it look like this. But yeah, and that's very similar to traditional Notion. So if you want to use headings, that's one way to do it. Again, this is a free template that you can just like grab from the template page, or you could just make it yourself. I don't think it's that complicated to make. So yeah, there's that one. And I also have a video which is linked on the page so you can see related video. So I believe the video on that page is linked to my inline math video. If not, I have 2 on the YouTube channel, and just search on the YouTube channel math, and it'll come up. This one is, what is this? This is a monthly finance, but what actually is it? Oh, yeah, this is what I was talking to you before, John, about the... Oh, and Roxana was in there at the same time with the numbers flying across a screen and things.
Yeah.
So this basically is for finance. So in my space, I track my finances in my workspace in Notion as well. And this is kind of mirrored from that. My space is much more fleshed out and there's way more properties. But basically transactions. So whenever there's a transaction, I can put it in and you have the date of the transaction, however much it is. I've just used flow and put a negative. I actually have income and expense in my space, but this was just easier for creation purposes. Then I link it to a month, and then I can tally that up in the month. So you can see June, and then I have the roll up. So that will roll up everything that's June related. I was going to say, where's June? It's there. So that's 40, that's 30, 20, because you've got 10, 2, and 30, 20, £30, 2p. Oh dear. Bad maths. You've got 10, 02, and then 20, and that's adding it together, and then that's the roll up. You could just leave it as a roll up. Personally, I like seeing whether it was good, bad, and the negative is quite small. So when you're glancing over numerous items, numerous months, or anything like that, having that green dot or red dot really helps out.
Yeah.
So this is a very, very simple, easy formula to do to work this out. So I've just put the pound sign on because I've actually had to turn the roll up from a number into text. So I have to add the pound sign on. Then you can see I've formatted it. I've used the abs, which basically turns, like, it gets rid of a lot of the long, big numbers, all the decimals, and makes it an absolute. No, it doesn't. Scratch that. It gets rid of the negative and positive. Wow. I was thinking of something else. So the absolute, reverse what I just said, gets rid of the negative and positive. So it always makes everything positive because I don't want to see the negative sign after the pound sign. Because if this wasn't here, it would go pound sign, negative, number, red or green. But when I've got absolute, it says pound sign, number, and then either red or green. So if it's negative, it will be red. If it's positive, it will be green. The main downside to using that simple formula is, as I sort of went off on a tangent a little bit, if it's 0, 0, because Notion will round it up to just a whole number rather than having 0.00, you'll see a 40. And there could be an occasion where Notion decides to throw about 8 decimals on the end of this. In my space, I have a formula that gets rid of all of that and dumps all of that out. I may do a video on that if enough people are interested in how to get rid of all of that rubbish. But this is the template for you to download and have a look at. Do you guys manage your finances in Notion? I know a lot of people use Excel. Oh, you do, Roxana? Oh, okay.
Yes. Actually, ask you for a formula regarding that. I don't know if you can remember.
Yes. Like, this is going to sound like really bad, but the amount of people, I feel like I'm like I have a problem with the formula. Danny, like I've got it, like 50% of the messages I get are, Danny, can you make this formula? Danny, can you solve this formula? How do I do this with a formula? And then the others are like actual client requests, like project requests. I do.
Are in tasks.
Ah, yes. Yes, I love that question. Go look at my videos. Even though they're like, yeah, you could do recurring tasks in so many different ways. Right, let's get on to these couple of things. Actually, no, let's answer these questions in the form. We've got 2 more in the form. So, question in the form is from Ramanas. I'm going to go with Ramanas. I apologize if I've said that wrong. The question is, embedding Google Documents into Notion page does not work properly. I can only view a screenshot of the document, but unable to edit it directly in Notion. Is it a bug or I am doing something wrong? So I'm actually planning on doing a video about explaining some of the embeds into Notion. I say a video. Videos explaining some of the embeds into Notion, because you can embed Google Calendar, Google Drive, and Docs and stuff into Notion. If you do it like a normal, you can do it 2 different ways. My understanding is you can either get a screenshot like a view version where you can't interact, And then there is a way to embed it that you can interact. I don't have anything, because I don't embed anything. I don't have anything that I can embed into my space to show you as an example. You'll have to wait for the video on that one, unless either of you have like embedded Google stuff in your spaces.
No.
No.
One, but
No, yeah. So you
bookmarks to embed. I link bookmarks. That's about all I do. I don't have proper embeds because I feel it slows down Notion too much for me. I would rather spend the extra half a second clicking to open it in a new tab.
I really don't want to say. Can I say that? Oh my god, your baby. Yep. Good to see you. OMG, your baby. Right. Interesting username. Interesting username. I won't say that one again. But good to see you. Yeah. So when it comes to like the you what? Sorry.
Oh my god, your baby's now going to ask loads of questions, and then you have to keep saying it.
OMGYB. So with the when you're embedding Google Docs or Google whatever it is into Notion, I personally would only use the Google Maps to see the Google Map and then move around. When it comes to actually embedding like a Google Doc into, I would just use like I was going to call you Chris then, like John said. Actually use either a file link or a bookmark to go to that space where it's supposed to be. Like even with like emails and Zooms and stuff, you could embed those technically into Notion, but it's just easier to go elsewhere, go off platform, because Notion's great, don't get me wrong, but it's not great at everything. So use the app that best suits what you need it to do. So I probably wouldn't embed Google Docs into Notion. I would put the link in and then bounce back out. Because I mean, for me, I don't actually use Google Docs because I do everything in Notion anyway. So I've never really found that use case. And when it comes to sharing information, I can just share the page. When I want people to collaborate with me, I can just bring them into the page like I'm doing right now. Like John's in this page if he wanted to come in and edit stuff. So I don't use Google Docs because I don't need to, because I have Notion. So I don't need to embed a Google Doc into Notion because I can just use Notion natively as a page. Your thoughts on that, guys?
yeah, same.
Yeah.
I actually use sometimes Google Docs because my friends or clients are more used to it than Notion. So I find that sometimes I would just make their life a little bit easier. Just create a Google Doc.
You need to convert them.
I tried. Like the first week that I found about Notion, the week after I gave a presentation in my workplace of Notion, like, okay, this is Notion, you have to change other things. And we use Asana, so they haven't actually translated yet, but they're coming soon, I think.
So one of the series I'm actually planning on doing is like I don't even know what I'm going to label it, like a Notion versus or a Notioner like me. Notion user tries other apps. So I know other apps fairly well, like from a beginner standpoint, because I don't use them obviously. But I want to try and compare like Notion to my understanding with the other apps and just like do those sort of videos, go backwards and forwards, because there are pros of using Asana to Notion. Same with like Coda, Evernote, Rome, Obsidian, blah, 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 carry on for the list. So there's pros and cons of both, and I want to do a series going over some of the pros and cons of the two apps. So maybe I'll put, I think Asana's kind of at the top of the list anyway. And then once I've done that, you can see your views and thoughts, because I don't see many comparisons. I see like lots of people that have moved from one place to another. Most of the time it's Evernote to Notion, Rome to Notion. Sometimes it's going from Notion to somewhere else, but there's very few from what I have found. You may have seen other videos, but there's very few videos that I've seen that have gone comparison Notion to this or Notion to this. It's just I've moved from there to Notion because of. Have either of you, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, is it a video you'd want to watch? Is it a series you'd want to watch? Or is it just like a bad idea?
No, I would definitely watch it because I came from Asana, so I used Asana for like 3 years, I think. And Evernote, I have I've been using it for 7 years. So it was like once I found Notion, I was like, okay, this is cool, but I really used to Asana and Evernote, so I don't know if I should change. But once I found the database and how you can just relate one information that you just want to see and copy the database in the same place with another type of information, that was like, fuck, goodbye Asana, goodbye Evernote, hello Notion.
Jonathan, your thoughts?
I've tried them all, and just for me, because I actually went back, I had to go back to Trello for a client recently, and I just couldn't handle it, because once you get into Notion and you get used to what the fact you can do almost anything in Notion. If you want to add one small thing, you can just go and add that one small thing. Whereas with Trello and Asana, you have their way or the highway. It's like, this is the one way to do it, which is great for people who just need to be told how to do stuff. But the moment you start thinking like you're outside of this kind of, I suppose, niche in a way, they have the niches of what is needed. But with Notion, it's like, well, I can't use any of those. I need to go somewhere else. Like, whereas with Notion, you can just do everything in one place and then change it on a whim.
Can't do bidirectional linking yet. Like,
Kinda. With tags.
so you've got relations in databases. You've got a master tag database. I'm just listing some of the possibilities. Relations in databases, master tag database, inline pages, inline page mentions. So there are ways around it, but like the traditional like Rome Obsidian bidirectional linking, yeah, fair enough. But again, like I have all of my notes in a notes database that has flashcards on, so I see flashcards whenever they need to. So they're all kind of related anyway. I'm going to have a look at this question. So I was going to say something else, but I've forgotten. So I'm going to read the question instead. I've said your name before, and I'm going to say it differently now. Brigat. I feel really bad pronouncing names because I don't know how to say them. Brigat.
I think it's Marcelo. He said earlier. That's his surname. You're saying? I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, he's put something in chat. What are you putting in chat before I read your question? I use Notion, ClickUp, Roam Research, looking for no overlaps. Each has its strengths, and I agree with you that they should be explored. Which best suits you? Yep, cool. All-in-one is easiest, but don't think it's there yet. Well, I don't think you'll ever get a completely perfect all-in-one thing, because the scope and direction of so many things. Marcelo. Okay, I can say Marcelo. That's cool. So I don't think you can get like a truly all-in-one workspace, because Notion's being pulled in so many directions. It's just not possible. Like project management, task management, journaling, documenting, tracking for sport, tracking for business, tracking for lecturing, tracking for education, tracking for lawyers, artists. Like there's so many different things you can do. There will never be an all-in-one workspace for everyone. But I think, like I've said before, it's a very good app to be glue to bring everything together. Whereas ClickUp, I think ClickUp was the example. Yeah, ClickUp's really good at project management. So you could use ClickUp for project management, Roam Research for your note-taking, but then bring it all together as glue with Notion. That's how I would approach it.
Same.
Excuse me. Are you guys similar with that? Yes, nodding. Cool. I'm glad I got you on stream. Okay.
Right, yes, absolutely.
There we go. Articulation.
You're right, Danny.
It's for me, like whenever, so I come from a coaching background, coaching sports background. You ask like 4-year-old kids questions and they'll scream at you. You ask like 7, 8-year-old questions, you might get like a couple of nods, maybe some words. Anyone older than 10 is just silence. You're just like, I need some response, guys.
Look, the last time I was on stream, We went for 3 hours because I kept talking. I'm staying silent.
People are still watching.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, people are still watching, people are still getting value, and I'm still having fun with the conversation. And like, no offense to everyone watching, as long as I'm enjoying it, I'm going to keep doing it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like, that's a really selfish view, but like, I need to enjoy it myself, which hopefully it comes across that I'm enthusiastic and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but who knows, colors.
You're not going to bring that up now, are you?
Let's actually read this question now. Is there a way to transform a ClickUp logo or YouTube in an emoji to place a hyperlink? Currently, no. It's something I've actually been bugging Notion about. Well, I say bugging Notion. I've been asking Notion about. You can put a hyperlink on an emoji, but you can't put a hyperlink on an image.
Yeah.
So it's really irritating, but you can't do it. So you have to use an emoji from the emojis menu. So you wouldn't be able to natively do it yet. You could still bring those icons in and use them as icons of pages. So you would have seen, if you haven't seen, go back. Actually, I can quickly go onto my space because you'll probably see a task that you actually know because I would have done it all. Yeah, so you can see this is my replacement emoji for YouTube because there is no YouTube button. But then you can see there it is there. But then you can bring that YouTube like logo image icon in when like you actually need the page. So you can't natively put a link on an image yet. I am asking, but at the moment, because you can open up that image into its own thing anyway, they'd have to change all the other stuff around. But yeah, so there is that one. Torin put something in chat. What were you saying? I use several apps for different things, including Roam, where Notion is what I use to bring everything together, especially for my projects. Yeah, Notion is a glue, is a bit of glue. Right, so next question. I'm like keeping in mind that I've still got to go through both those things on there, and I've gone through the templates. That's cool. Right, next question is from Gail. Gail has another question. I'm assuming Gail's still in chat, or Gail's still on stream. So Gail's question is, do you hold any confidential or sensitive information in Notion, i.e. passwords, account numbers, etc.? If so, do you organize differently or separately from other types of information? If not, what kind of apps do you use to hold that kind of information? So I would probably say the most sensitive information I have on Notion is how much is in my account. But to me, it really doesn't matter if people see how much is in my account, like that much, because at the end of the day, they don't have access to my account in any way. All they're essentially seeing is a number. And I could be completely lying. I could say I am rich and I have $1,700,000 or pounds in my account, when actually I'm broke and I'm in negatives. So it's just a number to me. But apart from that, there is nothing sensitive in my space. No, all the passwords are in my head. All of my passwords are in my head. Account numbers, they're all on the cards that I have in my wallet, so I don't need to write those down. And my wallet is like there, like right on my desk. So for me, no. What about any of you guys?
So part of my work is doing loads of tech stuff for people. So I could have the passwords inside of Notion. I don't. I have it inside of a task, like a password manager. I use LastPass, and that is one, safer, and two, especially as I go on streams often, I don't want to be sharing, well, for obvious reasons, I don't want to share pages that have passwords on them. So no, I don't think I have anything that is very much.
I guess client information. How much client information do you have in your space?
I have their email. That's about it, really. Yeah, it's their email, but even that, obviously GDPR, so that's why I was having to be careful when I shared my space earlier that I didn't show any emails. But apart from their email, and what tools they use, which is not very hard to find out. Like for example, I help people with like email management and like ConvertKit and all that lovely nerdy geeky stuff. But apart from that, no, it's just emails and their name.
But before I go to Roxana, actually, like I previously had my university email as my Notion account because I was on the student plan. Now I'm actually on my business account, so Danny@DannyHatcher.com. So even my email, even if I show my email, it doesn't matter because it's on my YouTube page. It's publicly put everywhere on my platforms, so it doesn't even matter if people see my email because it's public anyway. But I know some people don't want to show their emails. So in the workspace I'm currently in, you can see at the top right, it's shared with loads of people. If I was to hover over that, you'd see all of their emails. Some of them are business, some of them are personal, which is why I don't go over them. But that would be the only thing to worry about, really.
Yeah.
Roxana, what about you?
I'm kind of in between. I track all my finance like Danny, so I have that kind of sense of information there. Other personal things like I do all my water bills and electricity bills, like all those login information. I have it on Notion because it doesn't matter if someone gets it because they cannot do anything with it. So that's why I have it. Like those type of sense of information I have. Like people can have it, but they cannot mess with my something. So kind of in between, and it's more easy for me every time I have to pay. So
I was going to say, like when it comes to, so I know security and data protection is something that Notion do. You need the enterprise plan to have access to some of the security stuff. And for some businesses, I can understand why they need to keep some things private. But for personal use, I don't think there's much information that you would have that, because at the end of the day, you are in complete control of what you have on Notion, what you don't. And most of the time, like for me anyway, money isn't something that I can't share. Like just look at YouTube. People are saying, I earned this much for my AdSense. I earned this much a year. I earned this for this course. Like Ali Abdul showed like day by day how much he earns. So I don't think money, like showing numbers from money or people finding out that is an issue, but passwords potentially. But I have my passwords in my head. You could put passwords in there, but the person reading that information would have to know, 1, the username, 2, the application or the place it is, and 3, like make sure that that is the right password with the right username, etc. So I guess if everything is put, if it's like instructions, go onto YouTube, type in this username, type in this password, then they would be able to go in. But if it's just like a password on a page, they wouldn't know where it goes unless you have like the same password for everything, which I would not advise. Anything else you guys want to add?
no, same.
Yeah, pretty much agree with you there.
I actually
Cool.
have one. Like I have a password for my Adobe because every time I have to log in with a password in Adobe, so I have a bunch of text, and somewhere between that text I have the password, so I know where I have to copy paste to have my password. But if someone will in the future gets access to that page, he won't be able to know what password is because I have just like a block of text, and somewhere there is a password. So that's how I keep it a little more safer.
Yep. So I don't have any more questions in the form. So if anyone does have a question, put the question down in the form. So I'm going to go back onto screen. Am I sharing the screen? Yes. See, no blooper that time. So I think this one was from Torrent, full calendar into inline. So what's going to be easy? Yeah. So essentially, my understanding, Torrent, correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't even want to do that. That was silly. I wanted a full page. I could have turned it into a full page, but
You could have, I was gonna say.
I was like, I gotta just turn it into a full page. So this is a calendar. So this is a calendar full page. So those of you that don't know, this will go for absolutely ever. And what I believe it was Torrin said that it's kind of hard to see like the month, like the changes in month, because it kind of like I can see what you're saying. I mean, I personally don't use this view. I just use the monthly inline view, and then it's hard to distinguish like where's the new month. And you could have a page that comes in at the end, but you'd have to manually input that, which is kind of a pain. So what I do, and I think I explained this briefly to Ryan, is you can't actually turn it. So if I go back into here, so if you want to turn it into an inline, it doesn't actually come up in this view. So you'd have to come outside to see this page, go all the way across, and then turn it into an inline there to show there. If, however, you have, let's bring up my sidebar like first time in years. Is it going to let me drag that? No, it's not, because it's an inline. Let's turn it to a page. Turn it to a page. So now it's a full calendar. Why are you not letting me throw it onto?
Because you're on the favorites.
Oh, yes, I am. Thank you. See, I don't even use a sidebar. I know how it works, but I don't use it. So what are these things? Yeah, that's my main page. I don't know what the rest of these are. I'd have to go in them off stream because I don't know what they are. So this is like the calendar that we've just made. So this is like the full page thing. So come back up, and because it is that full page, you still get that menu, and you can't turn it into an inline from here either. So if this is the situation you're in, what you can do is, wow, how do I manually add a top hierarchy page?
It's tricky.
It's like you forget how to do some of the simple stuff when you just don't use it. Right. So there's a top hierarchy page. This is the calendar page. Now I'm going to drag that into this page. Now you can see there's the calendar. Now I can turn it into an inline. And now the inline is on a page.
Just to jump in, because you told me I wasn't talking enough. You can use, there's the little arrows, so you can move it. So keep it in line. You can also make it full page. There's the little arrows next to search, which means you can open it as a page as well. So you can temporarily have it as a page and then go back.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Actually, something else just to mention, I guess, is the same with that. If you have like an inline view of the page, you know what? No, I'm not going to show. I was going to go into my space and dig around and try and find the situation. But basically, when you're going into spaces, when you have a relation, you can click on that calendar and it will bring it up, that database, and it will bring it up in that view. You know what? I'm just going to do it because that explanation was pants.
So the conversation we had the other day about it. It was just like, you know that thing where you could do this thing and you go to database and you were like, I'm not going to explain this to you because you won't understand. Oh, hang on a minute. You actually understand Notion. Right. Let me go into deep detail with it. So it's going to be in a database within a database with a database inside of a database. And I'm just like, yep. And you're just
I've got to try and find a situation that I was thinking about now. Like if you're watching on the replay, just look at the timestamp. If you're in live, bear with me. There we go. There it is. So you can see I have a linked view of my projects database, which is a master database, which is in my areas database, which is a database of databases. But we won't go there. But basically, this is a linked view that's filtered for YouTube because we're in my YouTube space, which is here. And when I click on this, so this is just the month, right? When I click on this, it's going to bring me to that big project view, but this is actually filtered for something else because this is an actual view I use. So this is filtered for projects. So you can see clients, progress. All of my completed projects are filtered out. You can see I've got the filter in here. I did click on that, didn't I? Here, there we go. So if progress is not that. So this basically means if any of my projects are done, don't show it because I don't need to see it. And that's where the archiving comes in that I spoke about earlier, because everything that's completed will have a green tick, which means it won't show here. Let's go back a page because I don't want to go to projects. So, excuse me, Notion. Thank you, Notion. Just like having a moment. Probably got confused because I used it. Yeah, but yeah. So you can get that jump from there. Thomas put in chat. Okay, so have I got anything? Okay, no. Okay, so create a page called events, then move the event calendar into it. Done it, Tar. Cool. All good. You can see I got a Francesco video down there. That's currently something that I'm going to be working towards because Francesco and I it's sort of a collab, sort of not. But yeah, you did a stream with Francesco, didn't you?
And I've got a video too.
Oh, you got a video with him as well?
Yeah, eventually.
Oh, event. Oh, is that like an in progress?
I think so. Yeah. I think
right. So that is that one. So we will delete that one. I was going to make a really snarky comment then, but I will refrain.
Now you've said that.
I was just going to say you're making more content for Francesco than yourself, but
hey. Yes, it's very true. But I don't have a really good reply to that.
Okay, files and folders. So this one is actually you know what? I could, because I'm pretty sure if I've done my, I was going to say job, but it's not a job. If I've done my due diligence, files and folders will be in here somewhere. But I made it ages ago, so I'm gonna search it. For those of you that don't know, searching at the top of a database, it saves so much time when you have a massive database. Some people I feel like don't know this, and they end up like scrolling endlessly trying to find the right page. You can also do that on YouTube, by the way. You can search a channel for a video on a channel. So when people say, "Have you done a video on X?" I can just say, "Search for it." So this is, I have a video on this, and that is not the link to the video. So that is just a link to my channel. So files, folders, link. Need to do files, folders, link. Folder, link. Doing everything at once for YouTube. Oh, there is so much stuff to do. Anyway, so what I've got here is I have pages. But these are exactly what we've just shown. These are pages of a database. So if we go into notes, this is just a database of notes and classes, apparently. Apparently I put classes in here as well. And all of these are just databases. So they are databases as a page. And then here are, you can see by the arrow, it is a linked view of the database with filters for edited within the past week. I think the question specifically was put on the video. I think it was a comment in the video, and they were asking how to make it. So what I'm going to do is make it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go. What should we go? What should we call it? I'm going to make it a table, but what should we call it?
Cool.
Notes, folders, files. Let's go. Files. Come out here. So now we've got the files database. Table. I didn't want it inline. I'm so used to making inline databases. Yeah, I'm so used to making inline databases. Folders and then notes. There we go. Notes. I'm going to add a random emoji because it's got to look fun. I feel like this is like every single Notion video I see, somewhere in it goes, you can add emojis and you can add covers. Like irrelevant of what the video is about. You could also add, and like I'm just adding that in there. And then I've dragged these across to turn them into columns. Glad I did that right and not on the wrong row. I've done that a few times. And what I've now done is we're going to go copy link. Going to paste the link, create link database. And there is the link database. And then I'm going to filter this for, I'm just going to put today. I'm not going to put today because it doesn't have a date in there yet. I'm troubleshooting as I go. So date. Actually, Jonathan, I'm going to show you something in a minute that you may not know. You may not know.
Ooh, I like that.
So I'm going to add something in there. That's today, right? And then if we come into here, you can see that is. I'm just going to dump all of those because I don't need that. So that is today's task. And then if I add in a task for, say, yesterday, there's yesterday. Now when we come into our filtered view, that doesn't show because it's only showing today. However, and this is the bit that I'm not sure if you know, if you copy a linked view, it copies the view that you're using. So that filter is going to drag over to here. So I can just come into the filter and then go yesterday.
Oh, yeah, no, I knew that.
Yeah, and there it is. So you can copy sorts and filters for views down into other views. And if you've got like list views, so I'm going to add a list view in there. So you've got a list view that's just random. Now when I duplicate that, for those of you that don't know, I'm holding the Alt key and then clicking, dragging and dropping, which duplicates, which is a shortcut. I think I've just dropped that into its like same thing.
Good.
Did I just drop it into itself? Yeah, I did.
Which I have done so many times.
There we go. So now all of those views have been copied over as well. Just to speed things up when you are creating things. If you do it with a normal database, though, it will then make a copy of the database, and then it doesn't work. So you have to use that for linked databases.
You can also just highlight the database and use the shortcut Control or Command D, and then just duplicate it that way.
Control D. Boof. Did that work? Oh no, I just duplicated the pages. Does that allow me? No, it's not going to let me drag and...
Yeah, there you go. You've got to highlight the whole thing. There you go. I just use the arrow keys normally.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so used to like clicking and dragging because I'm like making columns and I'm like, I make another column and I make another column. But yeah, so there is that. Let's come up here, delete all of that. Yeah, so essentially what you do is you do the exact same thing as I've done here, but for folders and notes. Do I have any questions in the form? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do either of you want to add anything onto that?
Nope.
Nope. Any ideas, any thoughts? Do you guys use Notion as like a file folder sorting system? Not like that, but in your space, do you like put everything, like have your docs kind of in Notion and then use your areas and stuff to file them?
No.
No. Not really. No.
Oh, that's fine, Torin. Good to see you here. It is like, wow, it's like 20 to 10. So we'll probably call it after this question. So last question is from Raminus. I think I've said that right. I know I've said it before. I have one main page container for all my tables. When I view this main page, I see a list of tables. Some of them just take one line, other expanded, and all data is visible. How can I make them all to be on one line per table, just a table name without visible content? Unfortunately, I cannot attach a screenshot here. Okay. From what you're saying, when you say one line, I'm guessing it's one line in the database. Is that how you guys would understand that as well? You know what? I'm going to drag the form up on screen so you guys can read the question as well. So everyone can now see the question. But yeah, so I'm reading that as you have a list of tables. Some of them just take one line. I'm assuming that's one line of the database. So if you don't want to see all of the information, you can use filters to filter the information you want to see. If you only want to see the table at a specific time, you can put the table in a toggle. So it then covers one line.
When I first read it, I thought he meant like sometimes it's an inline and sometimes it's a full page. That's what I thought was being said. And if so, all you need to do is what Danny did just a bit earlier, where you can change it into a full page. That's what I understood of the question, but I could be completely and utterly wrong.
Roxanne, is that how do you read the question?
Yeah, I understand it the same way as John.
Okay. Yeah. So go back on. Actually, I'll just do it now because it doesn't take too long. I'll just leave that there. So if you have, I'm going to make an inline this time. So if you have your table there in your page, you can come over here with the 3 dots, turn into page, and that's how you turn it into like a normal page. If you want to turn this back into, so this is now a database. If you want to turn this back into an inline, use the turn into an inline. If you did want to filter information, the filter is here, and then you can filter for whatever you want. I've got a couple of videos coming out on filters. I think John's actually done a video on filters briefly.
Yeah, I did one. I've got like 3 more coming.
Cool, they're in the pipeline. And then something else that you could do, which actually allows you to add a bit of color, which everyone loves a bit of color.
Oh, you love doing it. Everything.
I'm just going to put color into everything I can. Yeah, so now I can toggle this table, open and closed. August Bradley is a massive fan of doing this. I think he's got like 10 toggles a page, something like that, with databases and filters and all over the place. And what you can do is, it would help if I actually click there. You can add color to the toggle, and that colors the background of the table. It like highlights the columns and then the bottom rows. Get rid of that, and it's still there. So you can sort of have like a post-it note. Do you guys use like the post-it note sort of like color thing on your page much? I didn't see it. You know, you have like a text block and then you nest the text block into something else to make it look like a. I'm seeing a nodding from John. Do you know what I'm talking about though? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I don't use that.
Yeah.
I use it on my resources page.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And kind of having blocks for each type of resource instead of having them all in databases.
Right. Okay, so I don't have any more questions in the form, so don't put any questions in, otherwise I'll answer them on next stream. I've got no questions left here, and I've gone through all the templates. So for those of you that aren't following Jonathan on social media or on the YouTube channel, I have his channel in the description, so you can click on that. I've done that, so you can click there, go straight to his channel. Jonathan, do you want to plug, show anything where you are if you want to, business stuff?
I love that. Stuff.
Yeah, I was like, how do I? I'm chilled, okay? I'm a relaxed presenter.
I have nothing to plug, unfortunately. But if you want some help with Notion, and reach out to me however you want. I'm on Twitter. That's pretty much where I always am. Normally talking to Danny.
Just look through the Twitter threads. Roxana, your Notion stuff or business or work or anything?
Actually, no, because I really don't showcase much about Notion, so I don't know.
That's fair enough.
Maybe in the future I will do a video of my workspace or something like that, but not right now.
not ready, even though Notion is never ready. Notion's never finished. So that is the live stream. So yes, if you're still hanging around or if you've just joined and you missed it, this will be available on replay. So you'll find it on replay in the videos. I don't have a playlist on my main page. I may put it back on, undecided, but it will be available for replay. I will have timestamps put in ideally by the end of the day, but we will see, hopefully before tomorrow. If you want to contact me about any questions about Notion, clients, or anything like that, I have my main public Notion page linked on my banner, LinkedIn, all of the descriptions, and you can find me, Danny Hatcher, everywhere. So yeah, that is that, and I will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.